Hey guys, welcome to CryptoPumpz. But today it's a collaboration. We have KatDaddyKrypto, we have BitcoinHoodie, and we have BlackTigerMiner. So we all have in common is mostly what we talk about is Kaspa on our channels. And we just thought we'd get together today to celebrate Kaspa's birthday and just have a talk, have a chat, and just see how everybody heard of Kaspa, when they got into Kaspa. Maybe we'll talk about KRC20 tokens, and we have another guest coming on as well in a few minutes to tell us the same thing. So we want to start off with Hoodie. Can you tell us, Hoodie, when how you heard about Kaspa and how you got into it? Like, what price did you start buying?
So I first heard about it in early 2023. I was making some videos about Epic Cash, which is a privacy coin, and some people in the community started talking trash about Kaspa, and that's the first time I even heard about Kaspa. But I didn't buy it then, and then I saw a Crypto Galaxy video probably February of 2023 when it was 7/10 of a penny, and I was on some exchange called Fiat, which is some crummy exchange, and I was like, oh, I got some money here. I'm gonna buy, some Kaspa, and I had like $50, and so I bought like 7,800, 8,000 of them, and then a couple months later, it was like 2x or 2.5x, and I sold it, and then I just kind of stopped paying attention to it, and then really when Kaspa was about 5 cents in October of 2023 is when I came back into Kaspa and started taking a large position and dollar cost averaging in, even though it went up to like 6.5 cents, and did some more recently. So pretty much that's how I got introduced to it. Heard about it, didn't know anything about it. And I would also say that since I first learned about it, I really kind of didn't know much about it, even the first time I bought it. And then even when I first really started coming into it, I was kind of like, oh, wow, this has similar tokenomics to Cardano, and I could see this going to $2 or $3, and I could, buy some and pay my house off was what I first got into. And then over the last year, I keep learning more about the technology, and as it's getting reshaped also. So the more I learn about it, the more I love it. That's pretty much a snapshot of how I came to be a Caspian.
Nice, nice. KatDaddy, do you want to tell us about yourself?
Yeah. So I have been in crypto in general. This is going to be my second cycle. I started mining actually Ethereum back in the day when it was proof of work. And as anybody in the mining industry knows, it switched to proof of stake. And, there was kind of a gap in what we could actually do. So basically, everybody's kind of running around trying to figure out what's going to be the next Ethereum. And it was, I don't remember the exact day, obviously, but it was literally right when Kaspa came to life, I guess you could say, was born. And I started hearing about it, and honestly, it was just a gut feeling. It was the logo, it was the name, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to turn my mining rigs onto this because there's literally nothing else out there, and we'll see what happens. And I wish I would have turned my whole entire setup onto it at that point in time. It was a fraction of a penny. And I just turned a portion of it because I was an idiot. And I'm like, well, I need to make sure I'm mining something that's potentially worthwhile, right, as well. Nonetheless, best decision of my life. And we all know where it's gone, from that point. I guess, I mined a lot of it, and I started getting conviction when we saw some, decent little pumps back in the day. And I was like, okay, this might have, some sort of staying power. And some people started talking about it. I as well, my conviction actually grew in Kaspa when I found Crypto Galaxy as well back in the day. He started talking about it, and he was one of the first YouTubers besides some of the miners that were talking about it. And I was like, okay, so, you know, that was that. And then you start doing some research, you find out the tokenomics are, very similar to Bitcoin, completely fairly launched, all that good stuff that we already know. And then I guess the conviction at around 3 to 5 cents is when I started going in extremely heavy and bought the majority of what I own now. And, you add that onto what I mined beforehand, and it's all, history from there. And then, every day, obviously I started creating this channel because I have absolute conviction in this is going to be the next project that is sitting in the top, 3 to 5 for years to come behind Bitcoin, potentially Ethereum. We'll see what happens with that. But that's about it. I don't want to take up too much time. But, as you continue to learn and do your research about Kaspa, you continue to, gain conviction in it because of the pure fundamentals and pure tokenomics of it. So
Nice. BlackTigerMiner, do you want to tell us about you?
Sure. I think it's real similar to what KatDaddy said. I was mining Ethereum. Had several GPU miners running, and I think I was doing pretty good with Ethereum. And then Ethereum went to proof of stake versus proof of work. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I started researching, and I think it was Red Panda or Mining King had mentioned it, and they were kind of testing with it. So I put a couple of GPUs on it, and it really wasn't too profitable like Ethereum. So I didn't really pay that much attention to it. And then it started to pump slightly. So I bought some early on, but then I sold some early on, right, to buy more miners and to get a little deeper into the mining portion. And then I started to realize, I think it was Kaspa Silver started making videos. So I was like, maybe this is something that might stick around. So let me put some more miners on it and get a little deeper. And then I started making the videos, kind of telling people about it. Um, Galaxy started talking about it. I think Crypto John started talking about it. And from there, it just kept expanding and getting bigger, and more people started getting aware of it. And I guess the whole Caspian movement started. So I was like, yeah, this is it, right? This is the best next proof of work. And I was expecting it to pick up, and then it kind of started to stall. So I sold more of it, figuring that it would continue to pump so I could get a little deeper in. And then the price just kind of went flat for a while. So a lot of people started flooding it. I was like, no, this is the next thing, guys. Just be patient. So I don't know from there pretty much where it was going. So I thought it would be a good idea to start buying like the ASIC miners, because that's when things started switching to ASIC, and the GPUs weren't as profitable because all these big ASIC miners started coming on. It's like these guys are spending a lot of money on ASICs. Kaspa is going to be the next thing. Just be patient. So I started telling people in the videos, just be patient. Things are going to turn around. So it kind of brings us to where we're at now, right?
Yeah, yeah. With me, I'm not in it as long as you guys. Like, so Bitcoin Hoodie, you've been making YouTube videos a while. BlackTigerMiner, you've been doing it a while. I think me and KatDaddy are newer. And I don't know if we started around the same time, or I started a little bit ahead of you, but then you grew bigger than me and you passed me out. So you're kind of like my arch nemesis. So it's good to talk to you here, like, but we're all supporting Kaspa, so it's all good.
We're all family. There's no competition here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm subscribed to all your channels, so I watch them all. So this is great. But yeah, I got into crypto a lot later than you guys. It's about 2021. the top of the bull run. I didn't know I was at the top of the bull run at the time, so I bought a lot of stuff, Cardano and other stuff, and obviously that was the wrong time to buy, and I lost money. I heard Crypto John talk about Kaspa for the first time. That's what put me onto it, and I started researching it and looking into it, and I really liked it. So everything I had left and everything since then, I put into Kaspa, and I even sold Bitcoin. I had a whole Bitcoin that I bought at 24 and grand, and I moved that into Kaspa as well in a couple of chunks. And it's the only thing I'll tell my family about is Kaspa and Bitcoin, you know, because you don't want to let them down. And the same reason we talk about Kaspa on our channels is because we believe in it, and you don't want to be getting people wrecked. But yeah, so yeah, I started doing the YouTube channel. I started mining Kaspa. I started going to conferences. So yeah, and I really like it. And you know, I wasn't really worried with the dip last week. I mean, it's worrying because you're losing money a little bit. You know, you can't help but worry a bit, but you just have to not think about it. And I've made videos about it, just saying that Kaspa is still great. Nothing has changed about Kaspa. You know, when something rogues, like something's gone wrong, the devs have pulled out, or you know, they sold or something, but nothing like that has happened to Kaspa. It's still great. There's still so many things in the pipeline, so I'm very excited for the future. That's why it's great to talk to you guys, you know, because we're all in the same boat. And have you been doing much of the KRC20 tokens? Say Hoodie.
Oh, I minted some, you know, and I had a little bit of Nacho and Trump that I minted on that first go around with, you know, kind of that snafu, and then second go around I did Nacho and Casper, and so that was a little bit I did there, and then since then I made one just for fun. It minted out, but it's kind of just more of a fun experiment. And then I played around with KDAO and stuff. I'm not doing a lot of KRC20s because I think it's a huge way to increase your Kaspa, but it's also a big casino. But for me, there's so much going on there that it takes a lot of mental energy to stay on top of it. And some of these, I think you have to be in and out pretty quick. Like KDAO, I think still going to do good long term with what they're trying to do. But for me, for minting, it was like a 4x in a couple of days, and I didn't take advantage of that. So I'm just still hanging on to it. But I think some of these, you got to be in and out pretty quick. There'll be a pop when it first comes out. Most of these will kind of go away, and there'll be a few blue chips like Nacho and like Kango, or, you know, there's a couple other ones like Kaspi, and I think KDAO will do good long term. But yeah, to me, it's a big casino, and there's going to be some good ones come out of it. Overall, I think it's net positive because it's giving so much more exposure and then bringing up revenue for the miners, which eventually with this aggressive emission schedule will be needed. So, and to me, it also, I think, proves the third leg of the trilemma. A lot of people knew how fast Kaspa was, but until it really started flexing how much TPS it could do, it truly hadn't proved it. And I think KRC20, outside of how fun it is to play around or people making money, is that it really showed the muscle that Kaspa can flex, and it's going to get faster when the 10 blocks per second come. And then, I don't know, it seems like Jonathan's pretty set on 100 blocks per second, you know, not the too distant future. So that's my kind of KRC20 snapshot.
Yeah. KatDaddy, did you get into any KRC20 tokens?
I did. Basically, I tried to mint some Nacho, and I only got a small percentage of what, you know, it told me that I was going to be able to mint. I guess it probably minted out before I was done because there was a lot of issues around that time. But I have some Nacho and I have some Gold. I know a lot of people don't like Gold because it's 70% pre-mint. That being said, as for now, I'm trusting the fact that the team is honest, which might be, you know, a downfall on my part for trusting a crypto team. But they're supposed to be using that money for exchange listings. And
they paid for MXC, didn't they? So it looks like they're straight up,
They're moving a little slower than I thought they were going to. But that being said, I still think that they're going to be one of the top projects. I don't think they're going to go away. The team seems very adamant on, you know, growing that market cap drastically. So, you know, time will tell what's going to happen. I agree with Hoodie there when it's very difficult to just jump in to, there's a lot going on in there right now. And I always tell people that the majority of those projects are going to be scams when it's all said and done. They're going to be pump and dumps, and they're going to try and take people's money. What I'm typically doing right now is holding on to Nacho that I minted. I've bought in a little bit more as well, and I'm holding on to Goad. And I bought a little bit more of that as well. But I do want to mention that I got hacked. A lot of you guys might know that through Telegram in my Telegram bot wallet. And the Goad team actually reached out and refunded me the amount of tokens that I got hacked, which I thought was extremely nice of them, I guess you could say. So I've been refunded the amount of tokens that I completely lost through a hack, as well as I bought a little bit more. So as of right now, I'm only holding Goad and Nacho. I think Nacho is probably going to be the winner when it's all said and done. If you want to call any of them a blue chip at this point in time. I'm probably going to end up buying a dog as well, because we all know that the dog meme coins typically do pretty well. I don't know which one I'm going to buy yet, though, whether it be Conan or Dagnite Dog or Kaspa. I don't know yet. I'm just kind of waiting to see, which one sits right with me, I guess. But as far as going out on the deep end and, trying to pick out a new coin that's going to be here for the long run, like you said, you got to get in and out of those, it seems like, because the market caps are super low, and we don't know which one of them are going to try to pump and dump on us. So, but again, I think that the whole entire ecosystem as a whole is definitely a net positive for Kaspa, right? Short term, it seems like some people are selling Kaspa for these tokens, but if you look at any cryptocurrency out there, the successful projects have an ecosystem, right? You don't see any cryptocurrencies that are successful that do not have an ecosystem. You could potentially maybe say Bitcoin, but there is technically an ecosystem with that now. So there needs to be some sort of reason, to bring people in, besides, in my opinion, besides just the peer-to-peer cash. Replacing fiat, because I think a lot of people that come into crypto really like to degen and really like to get involved in, in an ecosystem and feel like it's theirs. So that's just my take on everything. But
okay, Chris Hutchinson, the UK ambassador for Kaspa, great ambassador, terrible man at doing accents. He's he's guest here. He's just after coming on. Sorry, Miner. I'll come back to you now in a second about the KRC20. Chris, can you, the one thing I don't know about you? I don't know how you heard about Kaspa, or when did you get in, or?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I got into Kaspa. Oh God. June. Was it a year or 2 years ago now? I can't remember. Either June, I think it might have been June, either a year ago or 2 years ago, last June, or a couple of Junes ago. And I got in, and I remember the price. It was about 1.5 cents, because it just had a pullback. And it was really weird, actually, because I was looking through, I've been in crypto since, I think, about 2018, maybe 19. So I've done all the DeFi stuff. I've been through the highs and the lows. But so once you've been in crypto long enough, you always hear the same sort of hype terms that come along. And I was going through Twitter, and Kaspa kept popping up. So, and it was, I didn't know anything about it at the time. So I looked up, I was reading what some of the comments were, and it was things like, this is a layer 1 proof of work, solved the trilemma. And I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to get into it because it just sounds like a load of shit, to be honest with you. So I just ignored it. And then but it kept popping up on my feed, kept coming. And it probably about 3 or 4 months after I first initially saw it, that I actually went, you know what, I'm going to just have a look at this now, because it's everywhere. Like, it keeps popping up on my feed. So I started to deep dive into it a bit, and then that was it for me. I couldn't believe it, because it's one thing saying something. Like in crypto, a lot of projects claim they're going to do something or they can do something, but it's never proven. The thing I really liked about Kaspa is it was proven. They were doing 1 block per second on proof of work, like on the generalization of the Nakamoto consensus. So it was like all the benefits of Bitcoin, except it was 600 times faster. And it was provable, because all you had to do was move Cas from one wallet to another, and it was there in seconds.
Yeah.
And what is really unique about it, that I think some people miss sometimes, is yes, it can get confirmed in seconds, but what really is the thing that matters to me, and should really matter to everyone, is the actual sort of settlement of it. So the fact that sort of without a reasonable doubt, your transaction can't go backwards. So like with Bitcoin, for example, they say to wait 6 blocks, so you're waiting an hour before you've got true settlement. With Kaspa, it's 10 seconds, and that was something that blew my mind as well. I couldn't believe it. You get full settlement in 10 seconds. So yeah, that was my sort of beginning to Kaspa. At first, I thought it was a load of rubbish because it's a trilemma solver, but luckily I looked into it, and it was the trilemma solver, and it just had a pullback, so it's like the perfect time for me to get in, and I haven't looked back since.
Yeah, that's a lot of people go by TPS, don't they? But as the dev team say, it doesn't matter how many transactions you can fit in a block if it's taking ages to get confirmed.
Yeah.
So I mean, if Kaspa does it in 10 seconds, and they can get when it's 10 blocks per second, they're going to get in 3,000 to 5,000 transactions per second. They're all going to be confirmed in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
When we go to 10 blocks per second, is that final confirmation going to be 1 second then?
No, technically not.
Okay.
Because the problem is they always have to have a bound on the latency. So they always have to assume that latency will get to us, like could become unstable at a certain amount of time. So that 10 seconds is set sort of as a security measure.
Yeah.
What will really change that is when DAGNight gets implemented, because latency, the bound will literally be fluid. It will self-adjust to the speed of the internet, basically. That will be an absolute game changer. So you could potentially have blocks properly settling within seconds, and then if network conditions are bad, it can obviously make it go to like 8 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it needs to. But yeah, DAGNight is the one that's going to be huge.
And it only works on proof of work as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Sorry, Miner there. I skipped you. Sorry, just to introduce Chris. Like the KRC20 tokens, did you get into any?
Who, me? Sorry.
Oh.
Well, we'll go Miner first, and I'll go back to you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, I did get into it, and actually, I sold a pretty good amount of Kaspa tokens to get in. So I got in deep into Conan, top dog on Kaspa. So I'm gonna put that out there. Also been working with those guys. Just recently got in that Kango, and I minted some Nacho in the beginning. And the weird thing was, when I first tried to mint, is when I first started having some weird network issues. So I actually disconnected my wired and went to the wireless connection, and it took a while. And once I got connected, then I was able to mint. So I did mint a pretty good amount of Nacho in the beginning, and then I picked up some Kaspa because I like that narrative, the 3-legged cat. This guy had bought a lot of Kaspa, and he originally sold the Kaspa because he was trying to. He saw a cat that got hit by a car, and he took it to the vet, and it got kind of expensive, so he had to sell his Kaspa, and then he started that Kaspi token. And I did get some gold, but I got out of it, and I have a little bit. So shout out to Cat Daddy. I'm definitely against gold, so we're mortal gold enemies. I did get Casper. I didn't like it at first, but then I started looking at the story and how the Ghost Dag and Jonathan, I think originally Method was Ghost, and there's a lot of weird kind of stories tied into the Ghost and the Caspi. So I'm picking up some more of that. I got in big in Casbot and Cash Rig, and I'm currently looking at that Bully and KDAO and Bert. So, a lot of these guys, I do that live stream during lunchtime, actually, right about now, where we go over Caspi and KRC20 tokens. So I kind of get a lot of information from these guys just talking about different KRC tokens and different memes, which I thought would push the Caspa narrative, right? But it might be like what is that? Solana, right? The coins came out and it took a while for people to get deeper into Solana, and then the price pushed. But I think with Nacho being the lead token, at some point Nacho will take off and it's going to push the price of Caspa up, right? People recognize it and understand it and hopefully start investing deeper into the Caspa coin and kind of get more meme coins. But looks like the meme or the KRC20 tokens are doing pretty good today. So definitely
Yeah.
keep an eye out on those.
Yeah, definitely. The Kaspi, yeah, that was I like Kaspi as well. I have a good bit of that. It was 6 million Kas he spent on the cat, and at the time, I think he said it was like £1,500 or euro or dollars, whatever you want to say. But now if you work it out, I think it's up at about 600,000. So I think he's going to be like the pizza guy of Kaspa. It's going to be like when Kas gets up to where it's going, like it'll be the most expensive cat operation ever. Well, it was worth it. Can't put a price on a life, I suppose. So yeah, I have Nacho was the first one I got. I have Bort, I have Caspi, Casper, and K-Paw, and that's really it. I just kind of stuck with the same one since the start. I minted Nacho on the first day. K-Paw, a couple of the tokens decided not to go out on the first day, so I got them the second time rounds. But yeah, did you get any, Chris?
I'm not going to say, but
Why?
because I can't.
Tell us one.
I'm not really allowed to endorse anyone, but
yeah.
I do. I mean, I do hold some KRC20s, but
Is it a cat or a dog?
I'm not telling you.
There's loads of cats and there's loads of dogs.
Yeah, it's true. Not many people would know. I suppose I could say it's a bit of a dog and a bit of a cat.
Yeah.
But no, I personally, I love it. But it's weird actually because when KRC20 first came out, I was excited for it because of it was going to push Kaspa's network, sort of test the limits on it a bit. That was what I was mainly excited about. I was never really into the meme coin thing. I've dabbled with them before, but I never really liked the culture behind them. There was all pump and dumps, and I'm talking about previously, not on KRC20. So I was always a bit skeptical of anyone building out new memes, especially on KRC20. But then obviously we done blockchain banter, set that up with Lavendi, and we had all these KRC20 projects coming in and speaking to us. And you know what? I've completely done a 180 on them. I don't feel that way about meme tokens at all anymore. There's some seriously good builders out there, and they've got a vision. And I've completely changed my attitude towards meme coins and things like that. I think I just was a bit jilted from previous stuff on Solana and ETH and things like that. But I really like how the KRC20 projects have gone so far. I think a lot of them have been fantastic, and there's not really been too many rugs. And even the ones that have rugged, there's do you know Rusty the dog?
Yeah, that's the takeover. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You've got community takeovers, and I think it's awesome, and it's quite interesting as well. KRC20, the memes on here, the majority of them are fair launched, which is very weird. So you don't normally get that for meme coins. Obviously, everyone likes a bit of pre-allocation and whatever else. But I mean, that's got pros and cons to it being fair launched. But no, I thought it was really, really good. I think they're brilliant now.
Yeah. No, like you, I think it was a good way to show what Kaspa could do. Like with the transactions shot up and I handled it lovely, no problems. Yeah. What about you, KatDaddy? What do you think it was good? Like I know the price of Kaspa went down. Do you think it was related to people selling their Kaspa? I heard one developer, he sold his Kaspa to pay for a listing on an exchange. So I don't know if that was happening a lot, but I mean, obviously that would have brought the price down a bit. Do you think some of the price action going down was because of the tokens, the KRC20?
I have two theories on that, but I want to mention something first. First of all, I see we do see all the comments out there. We'll get to answering them a little bit later. And I also see a comment here that says that BitcoinHoodieguy and CryptoPumpz are the same person.
Yeah, I just changed accent.
What? Yeah. So I just want to throw that out there, guys. You have something to tell us?
Yeah, I saw that. You guys need to say something at the same time, so we can say it's not
exactly.
The same person.
You need to talk over each other. No, my two theories on why. Well, there's technically three. The whole market, right? The altcoin market in general is bleeding to Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin's outperforming. And typically this point in the cycle, it happens. Kaspa has, gone counter to the rest of the market before. I would imagine it could do that again, although the market cap's a lot bigger now. So it's probably going to be harder to do at this point in time. But I think that, my theory, I don't have any proof about this necessarily, but there's market makers out there, there's exchanges out there. Some of these exchanges need to buy Kaspa in order to list. And it wouldn't surprise me if there is a group effort somewhere to bring the price down so that these exchanges can buy Kaspa at a lower price. That's above my pay grade. I'm just speculating there. We do know that there's some, exchanges that have put the listing on their roadmaps, like Kraken. Binance has been rumored, they're doing the mining pools and stuff, probably accumulating through that as well. So in my opinion, I think that could be part of why the price has been struggling lately. That mixed with the fact that I think some people were selling some Kaspa to purchase KRC20 tokens, play around in that ecosystem, mixed with the fact that the whole entire altcoin market has been struggling lately for the most part, minus the last couple of days after the U.S. election was over. But Bitcoin's dominance has been rising, and altcoins as a whole have been bleeding, to Bitcoin. And usually this part in the cycle that happens. And I would imagine, once we get into next year, typically the year after the halving is when altcoins tend to outperform drastically Bitcoin. Bitcoin's dominance goes down, and Kaspa is going to be in that boat, right? So it's just a matter of time before the altcoin market in general decides to pick up. And at that point in time, we're going to see some massive pumps, double digits every day for a while. And Kaspa is going to be no stranger to that. It's not going to sit here and do nothing while the rest of the altcoin market is, going to the moon. So we do know it has the best tech out there at this point in time. And I think it's just a matter of time, before we see anything. But my biggest theory, I guess, going back to the first thing I said, was that exchanges need to accumulate, And I think that they have enough pull in the market with bigger figures than, you know, we are privy to, that can do things like that to a certain extent, so that they can buy in at lower prices. And that's just my theory. So
Yeah. Hoodie or Miner, do you have any theories about the price going down to do with KRC20 or other stuff?
KRC 20 might have been a part. I don't know. I'm not sure if the Middle East conflict, sometimes too, people, you can see that since I've been in, really into Kaspa for, a little over a year, that there's a lot of inverse price action with Kaspa, like Bitcoin will pump and then Kaspa's not, then the market is going down and Kaspa is one of the few that's pumping. So there's been some of that price action. And I have an interesting, I'm not sure, a theory about the upcoming altcoin market, which is kind of Kaspa related, but not. But a lot of this liquidity in Bitcoin that's tied up in the ETFs, I don't see that rotating back into other cryptos, because I don't think people in their retirement accounts are going to sell their Bitcoin ETF and then go to Coinbase. But I don't think that's going to really affect Kaspa, because I think it might be fewer projects, and I can be mistaken, and maybe all that ETF money doesn't matter, because like if you look at Kaspa at $3 billion market cap, it's got so much more room to grow. But I was just curious what other people thought about some of that ETF money. Maybe the only thing it would rotate into is the ETH ETF, but a lot of those people might just keep it in stocks and buy the S&P 500. And I'm not sure what that means. I just don't see a lot of people selling off their retirement ETFs and trying to cash out and go to Coinbase.
As you guys mentioned, I think that the conflict might be affecting the price as well. People thinking something could happen and send the coin crashing. But I do think, as you mentioned too, developers have sold for listings, and a lot of people are selling for KRC20. I don't know if that affects the price or not, but there's a lot of, I guess, downward price action for a lot of people selling and moving and then trying to get different listings. Then also heard some weird conspiracy theory about since it's competing against Bitcoin, right? A lot of people or a lot of businesses, exchanges probably don't want to push Caspa too hard, right? Because they want people to focus mainly on Bitcoin until Bitcoin hits that top, that 100,000, 150,000, 200K it's trying to hit. But once it kind of levels out with the ETFs and the whole Bitcoin crypto movement, I guess they could start pushing Caspa more to the forefront. And I did have a question. Anybody knows? So there's a SOMPS coin, and somebody said that they'll be using that with mining, kind of like the Satoshi of Kaspa. But then I saw there's also a SOMPS with an eye on it. So I don't know if that's going to be the same thing or if that's different. So if Chris, you know anything about that SOMPS and that SOMPS with an eye, are
Yeah.
those competing tokens?
No, so SOMPS is without the I is literally just a KRC20 token. SOMPs is the actual denomination of a full CAS. So if you broke a CAS down, I think it's 100 million or 100 billion, can't remember. SOMPs. So like you do with Bitcoin, you break Bitcoin down, you get sats or satoshis. A SOMP is a breakdown of CAS, or a smaller unit of CAS. But then you've got SOMPs, which is a play on that. That is just a KRC20 token.
So it's definitely not the same thing then. They're not connected anyway.
No, not at all. No.
Okay, thanks.
No worries. I'd just like to chime in as well about price action. So I've actually had this sort of level in mind for about 3 months now. So this hasn't really shocked me at all. To be honest with you, it's taken a lot longer than I thought it would to get here, but it has finally got down to these levels. So it wasn't a shock to me. And that's just going off of TA. That, like, I know it's magical lines and drawings, but like nothing's ever for sure, but it just gives you a good sort of weighted guess or weighted probability of what direction things may be going. But I do actually completely agree with KatDaddyKrypto that I think there's a lot of, well, potentially there's a lot of big exchanges or even just people that are high net worth individuals, whatever it is. They have a lot of money that they want to use to buy Cas. Now, you can't just dump all of that money onto the market. You're going to get slipped so hard, it's unreal. So what they normally do is they sort of have an off, they don't really have their market on a book. It's sort of left off. And then this sort of dark pot full of loads of people's money, exchanges, high net worths, whatever, then just gets drip fed into the asset they want. So they'll use a market maker to go, right, we've got another lump here that can go in because we've got enough sell orders in to fulfill that. And that's why this is why and it's just a guess, speculation completely, why we're having this sort of sideways movement for so long now. I think it's about 5 months. And because if you really do zoom out, it is just like one big sideways movement, really. I know it has pulled back a bit more, but that's what you'd do, because the people that want Cas, who have a lot of money, like I said, can't just dump it on the market straight away. But what they'll say is, we want to buy Cas at an average of, I don't know, 11 cents, 12 cents, whatever it is. We want a sort of average around there, or maybe even 15 cents. So they'll keep it, they'll just keep taking out of that sort of black pot every now and then to fulfill the orders. So that's why we get this accumulation sort of chart. I mean, it could be a complete conspiracy, but I think it makes sense personally. There's so many bullish indicators for Kaspa, and there's no reason why it shouldn't go higher, apart from big players are now accumulating. And if you was a big player, that's exactly how you'd do it. Because like it just makes sense. It's not to say other things don't affect it as well. No doubt, the conflicts that are going around the world, that will affect things, because it's risk off for a lot of investors when uncertainty in the markets and around like the macroeconomic sphere, they take risk off completely. They don't, and at the end of the day, crypto is a risky asset, so they take risk off and put it onto safer things, treasury bonds, whatever. So there's that aspect to it. Also, when you're comparing the price of things, just because something's going up or down, the asset that you're looking at goes up or down, doesn't necessarily mean it's the value of that asset is going up and down. It just means that what it's paired against may be going up and down. So everything's paired against the US dollar. If the US dollar is getting strengthened and doing well, your asset, it technically will go down in value, because it's a seesaw. It's paired against that asset. So it doesn't actually mean that your asset's going down in value as such. It just means that the other assets paired against is getting stronger. So yeah, there's and there may be some sell pressure, or there probably is a bit of sell pressure from people selling Cas to get listings on their projects and whatever else, and probably miners selling as well to cover their costs. There's a whole load of things that come together to make this, but I'd say the big one is, my guess would be, as KatDaddyKrypto said, big players are accumulating.
Yeah, and let me jump in real quick. I get a lot of comments too that say, well, if all these big players are buying so much Kaspa, shouldn't the price be going up? There's something called OTC where they buy it, over the counter is what that I believe stands for, where they're buying it straight from miners or whatever else their black market scenario is behind the scenes. And so what happens is, it doesn't affect the price that you see on CoinMarketCap or anything on the actual markets until we get to a supply crunch, like Bitcoin does. And this happens on Bitcoin, every day. People have a lot of money that they're spending behind the scenes on OTC, and then the supply crunch gets to a certain point, and the market makers want to, release that into the exchanges in the real market that we see, and the price just goes absolutely parabolic at some point. And the same thing's going to happen with Kaspa, I believe. As soon as the supply crunch gets to a certain point, after all these big players are done buying OTC, we could potentially get that next leg up that we're all looking for. And it should be pretty fun at that point in time. But like Chris was saying, yeah, there's a lot of big players that probably want a cheaper price, and I don't blame them. 22 cents or 20 cents, whatever the all-time high was probably a little bit too rich for their blood, and they're like, hey, we could, a 50% discount sounds pretty good. And so that's what they did, I believe. And obviously it's just an assumption like it is with him, but it makes a lot of sense for anybody who's paying attention, and like you said, or like, we said, Bitcoin, it happens with Bitcoin every day, and it's been happening for years upon years with Bitcoin. So I can't imagine there's, not a scenario where it could be happening with Kaspa as well, especially since the tokenomics and everything are so similar. So
do you think because Binance started around mining pools, do you think that's their way of mining without getting any fees? Do you think they might be mining Kaspa and that's their way of getting it? That'd be another way, wouldn't it?
I would imagine that is part of it. If there's a lot of speculation that 4 to 5 cent jump up to about 18 cents was, exchanges buying on potentially the open market at that point. But Binance and Kraken were the two that were speculated during that time. And then right after that, they started that mining pool, which I would imagine is just a continuation of their accumulation, because they can potentially get a lot more for technically for free, I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
If they're just collecting fees off of that. So in my opinion, that was a smart move for them. But, we'll probably look back on this in a few years and be like, oh, that was super obvious. But as of right now, we're just literally taking guesses. So, things that make sense, but, we're not 100% sure. It's just speculation at this point.
So pretty much if those guys are trying to go OTC, say Coinbase or Binance or Kraken's going OTC, are they going to Mexi and Gate.io and Uphold? And because who else would they be getting it from? Is that who they'd be going to?
Miners. They could be getting it from
Mara.
Yeah, Mara, or I don't know how many other large miners there are out there. There's probably some that are like, mid-scale that we don't even know about, or smaller scale.
And it looks like the Marathon digital wallet that I know of is still holding around 86, 88 million. So if Marathon knows that Binance is coming or Coinbase is coming to them, they're going to want to hold on to their bag because they know that one of those listings is going to increase the price a lot. And it'll be interesting. I think they're going to have another report coming out soon, another SEC filing showing what they're holding on their balance sheet.
Yeah.
Chris, the answer to all this because you have a little board that gives you alpha, don't you? Drops it down to you. Have you heard any alpha lately? Or
you know what? I haven't. To be honest with you, I've actually skipped a Rock the Kaspa episode because I've been so busy. Tom's been really ill. He's given it to me, so now I'm really ill. And we haven't had time to do it. So I'm going to try and roll 2 episodes into one, if I can, or 2 months worth into one episode. So I'm going to have to talk really quick, I think. But I've not actually heard anything from my little Alfie bird as of yet. So
no problem.
Say again.
No, I was saying no problem. Just one more thing there. Just the only negative thing that I hear about Kaspa is that it's nearly like it's at now 86% or something mined.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that people are using. But like you have KRC20 tokens. If smart contracts come out, we'll have stable coins. You have people like KII want to do cross-border transactions and they have their own stable coin they want to bring out. Like all that should be good enough to keep the miners happy, shouldn't it? And keep the network secure.
Yeah, that definitely will. I mean, to be fair, it's a fair concern to have, because it is such a rapid emission schedule, and that is one thing that people need to look at and are looking at. Well, once the mining rewards go, what's incentive has anyone got to secure the network? But this is why I was so interested in KRC20 and was so happy when inscriptions come live, because this is the metrics I was looking at to see if just KRC20 was good enough to sustain miners through fees. And it's a hard thing to say for sure, because there's obviously going to be spikes. When it first launched, there was loads of volume, so there was lots and lots of money. Then as time's gone on, it sort of comes back down and it sort of plateaus. And then you get another surge and then it plateaus. But certainly in those surges, you have so much money in there through fees for the miners that will definitely keep them going. But what really excites me is it's just one protocol that's been launched on top of Kaspa. There's so many more things to come. Smart contracts. When you get smart contracts, you get true DeFi. When you get DeFi, you've got a lot of stuff in crypto lands that is going to generate fees for the miners. And then on top of that, you've got people like the KEF and the KII who are looking to actually implement Kaspa into the real world, into actual usable businesses, and will genuinely help. I mean, KII, you were there, man. What they're wanting to do is just so insane. And what's really exciting about the KII is that they've already, some of these things that they want to implement have already been tested previously. It's just that they never found a decent crypto network to do it on until Kaspa came along. They always wanted a proof of work because they wanted it to be as secure and as decentralized as possible. It needed to be permissionless, and it needed to be secure. But obviously, most proof of works can't scale, because if you start to try to scale proof of work, as we've seen with Bitcoin and things like this, you actually start to lack in security. It doesn't mean that security is gone. It just means it's not as good as it was, say, with Bitcoin. But Kaspa was the first one to actually maintain all the security, all the decentralization, and I'd actually argue it's more decentralized to a degree, or will get more decentralized than Bitcoin, and it can scale. So this was massive for the KII, because they can now implement that network, Kaspa's network, on all the businesses that they want to run. And yeah.
Yeah, no, brilliant. You guys, anything? Do you want to go through the messages? Yeah, should we go? Cast the from the same stream. Kaspa Frog, how you doing? We are wondering if KRC20 token support on Kaspa wallet roadmap. I know that Crypto Galaxy is bringing out his own wallet for KRC20. Kaspa is doing one. Do you know of anybody else?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think what's the hot wallet? The Caspian are doing. I haven't heard anything about that.
I don't think they are. No, not.
Yeah. So and Tangent is supposed to be the middle of next month.
Yeah.
Or the middle of this month. Sorry.
Yeah. middle of this month. I've also it seems like the wallet that Crypto Galaxy is actually creating looks pretty legit. It looks like the Phantom wallet from Solana, which is extremely user-friendly and extremely easy to use. And there's apparently going to be swapping features with KRC20 in there as well. It's a hot wallet, so obviously, there's potentially some, hackable issues with that. But we also have, like you mentioned, the Tangent that's supposed to finish their integration middle of this month, which is probably a week or two from now, right? So, But it looks like that. And I know Crypto Galaxy was some sort of developer, did some tech developing or something like that before he started streaming, from what I understand. So he's got some history and experience with that, as well as there's apparently a team working with him. So if it's anything like that Phantom wallet, then I would be excited about that, because that's one of the things I think that Kaspa is actually missing. Yet I know we're in infancy when it comes to anything built on top of it, but I think, for at least in my opinion, to get a really good interest and a really good base and a really good network of people coming in, I think it needs something very user friendly that people can just jump on and just use without having to think too hard about it. You know what I mean? And so I would be ecstatic if, I don't know if it's going to be this, I think he's calling it the Ghost Wallet, or if it's going to be something else. But I think, have any of you guys used the Phantom Wallet with Solana and your experiences? I mean, it's super easy, super user friendly, and
I've used it before. It was good. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm just
I actually
hoping
use it now. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I still use it as well. I just need, or I don't need. I'm hoping that Kaspa can bring out something that user friendly, where it just is so much easier for people to get involved, I guess, is what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot as well. Actually, KSPR bot
Yeah.
is making his Chrome wallet, so that's going to be exciting. And when Casplex launch
Atomic swaps.
that's going to have a swap feature in that Chrome wallet, so that's going to be exciting.
okay,
And those guys do a fantastic job, honestly. KSPR bot. I know they're a Telegram bot. Have you used them? The Telegram bot, the minting bot.
Yeah, that's where I minted all the stuff. Yeah.
To be honest with you, if it wasn't for them on the launch and the relaunch, I don't think many people would have been even able to mint. They'd done huge amounts of volume. I think they must have done about 90% of the KRC20 traffic when it first launched.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're fantastic.
I agree with you.
And yeah.
There's one thing, Chris, before I go off, just or before I go to the next question, you were talking about bot manipulation. Like, I know it's the Telegram bot, and you go in and you mint, and you know the way you can, like, you open up an account, you can have 10 bot wallets, or 10 bots, you have 10 wallets, so you can mint 10 tokens at the same time.
Yeah. And
seemingly there's some kind of another bot that's out, and that can set up loads of wallets, and that's becoming a problem. Some people, I brought that up in the video, and some people think, no, that's not real. That's just, like, there was one guy, he said he had 100 wallets set up to mint, which is mental. Like, and then, obviously you consolidate them all into one wallet at the end, and that's why the amount of wallet holders is dropping like it does. But I mean, some of them look ridiculous. Like, do you think there's some kind of manipulation going on with some kind of bots in there?
I certainly did, yeah, because I started to notice this happening quite a lot. And like, when you get a fair launch meme coin, that's where technically that's where the money is, isn't it? You mint out as quick as you can and get as many tokens as you can, and then dump on the open market. But so I did think that, certainly, but I have spoken to KSPR bot, and all of their data suggests that that's not actually the case. It's just that people are using. I can't remember what he said now, and I don't want to misquote what they said, but basically their data tells them that it's not so much of a problem that a lot of people may think it is. It's just that it happens on every chain: Solana, Ethereum, Base, whatever. This always happens. People mint out as quick as they can and then just dump on the market. It's what we do as humans, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
anybody else, or will they go on to the next one?
Yeah.
All right. Everybody loves this question. What are your predictions for Kaspa at the end of next year? I'm going to say I'm going to say $3 to $5, around 18 months after the halving. That's uh,
Yeah, you can't do a video without giving a price prediction, right?
yeah,
That's the only thing anybody ever cares about.
Yeah.
yeah. So what's
I
yours?
guess it's a hard question because there's so many variables involved. But I believe that we're going to hit $3. I think there's a chance it could go higher because it's crypto and, you know, crazy stuff happens in the last parabolic part of every bull run. I think that gives it like an $80 billion market cap or something roughly for a $3 Kaspa. But I've done a video before where I'm not going to go into detail on it now, but it was basically the average of what the top 10 crypto coins are worth at the end of every bull cycle. And I think what I came out with it, if Kaspa takes the average, if it gets into the top 10 and takes the average price or average percentage of what one of those top 10 coins takes, then it was roughly like a 90 to a billion or 90 to $100 billion market cap with a $3 to $4 price range. And that's just the average. Whether it makes it into the top 10, we don't 100% know that. We all think it will. Or maybe it goes, you know, and hits the top end of that. And you got to remember, and most of the top layer ones last cycle roughly hit around an 80 to $100 billion market cap. And the whole entire market is going to be bigger this time around. So, you know, is it possible that the you know, average top 10 layer ones get to a $200 billion market cap this time around? Who knows? You know, there's so many variables, but you know, if we look at, I always like to compare it to Cardano because it's got some similarities to it. I know it's better tech and I know there's a lot of other variables, but if you just look at it on surface level, it's got a lot of the same price action. It's got a lot of the same variables. You know, the smart contracts weren't around yet, even though now we do have KRC20 tokens here. So, and Cardano hit $3 last bull cycle with literally nothing, with a promise of we're going to do this in the future. So if Kaspa can't hit $3, and I don't know, maybe we're all wrong about this. No, but I just think that $3 is a nice, in my opinion, fairly conservative number that I think there's a very good chance of hitting. There's a lot of moon boys out there that are saying, you know, 11, 12, 13, all the way to $20. You know, I'd be stupid if I didn't think anything can happen in crypto, but I'd be very cautious. And I always tell people, don't look for price targets because that's how a lot of people get wrecked. Look at where we are in the cycle and react accordingly, right? If the bull cycle is where it's supposed to be and we are almost where we're supposed to end the cycle and Kaspa sitting, you know, at $1.50, then it's probably time to start selling if you're going to sell and take some profits. And that's the case with any crypto, but, you know, and I think where we are in the cycle is much more important than focusing on a certain price, because what if you're so focused on a $10 price range and we don't even come close? You're going to be, you know, devastated and you're going to sit and hold your bags. And Kaspa might be one of those that's okay to hold through the bear market. I would argue it's, if you're going to hold anything through there, Bitcoin and Kaspa is probably the two that I would potentially hold. But, you know, when it's all said and done, I would focus more on where we are in the cycle rather than a price target, because I think you're going to have a lot more success doing that in the long run. So,
yeah, I totally agree with that. I think if you look at like, again, I don't really like talking about price too much, but
you're probably not allowed to, huh?
yeah, I just I do try to, because I am an ambassador, I want to try keep it about the tech and not so much the
Yeah.
price point of things. But I mean, to some degree, price does matter. People invest because they want to make more money. That's fair enough. I get it. Like, you have to be a realist with stuff. But my goal is to obviously try and teach people about the tech. But all I will say about price is, like you said, the market cap should, of the whole crypto market, was like 3.5 trillion last time.
Mhm.
It's fully expected to get anywhere between, I don't know, 5 to 10 trillion. So say if it got to $7 trillion market cap and Kaspa took 1%, which I think is fair, 1% of that market share, that's $70 billion market cap, which puts it roughly around probably $2, 2.5 maybe.
Mhm.
And so I think that's a fair price point. But what I do wonder is if, and this might throw everybody off, Kaspa had its own bull run whilst everything was going down. And it's always been quite disconnected with Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes down, Kaspa goes up. That's how it went for quite a while. I don't know. Like, anything could happen. It could possibly be that the bull run happens and Kaspa stays flat until that bull cycle finishes for every other crypto. Then it starts to have a bear market, and then Kaspa has its own bull. I don't know. Anything's possible. To be honest with you, I don't really believe that could happen. But like you said, anything can happen in crypto. So I do have my eyeballs on that. Either way, I'm in it really, really long term. So I'm not. This isn't a bag that I'm buying and selling actively. I'm holding on to this quite tightly for the next 5 to 10 years. To be honest with you, but yeah, I mean, there's certainly other coins I'll be selling along the way. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I get a lot of questions about the similarities to Chainlink last bear market, because Chainlink had a pretty solid run against the whole entire market. Last bear market, it was the best performing crypto in the market. And I actually went back and looked at that because I was like, well, if Kaspa is technically the best performing crypto this bear market, is it going to, and Chainlink kind of underperformed the parabolic part of the bull run because of that, because it did a lot of its gains earlier on. But what I found is it still did a 20x from the time that everything else started running. So it's not like it, didn't actually run. It didn't stay flat. It just didn't quite run as much as some of the others, because some of the other layer ones and stuff were doing like 100x from, the local bottom after the 200 or after the COVID dip and everything like that. And I think a lot of us would be fairly happy with a 20x from here on out. I mean, where else are you going to get that in the markets, right?
Yeah.
And that's assuming that it might potentially underperform, right, compared to the rest of the market. So I was planning on actually doing a video about that because I get a lot of questions about it from the whole Chainlink thing last cycle. We don't need to go too deep into it right now, but to put everyone's mind at ease, Chainlink still did a 20x after being the top performer of last cycle's bear market. So
yeah, that's a fair point.
I guess for me, I see the price kind of, I mean, like you guys have said before, KatDaddyKrypto says, I think the most important thing is trying to look at where the cycle's at. And I think, like Chris said, market dominance is what I think is more important than the price. And I could see that. I feel like Kaspa should at least get up to 0.5% market dominance. And if you look at what Cardano did or Dogecoin, they peaked at different times. Dogecoin was in May of 21. Obviously, Cardano peaked a couple months before the overall market re-peaked again in November. They were both hitting around 3.5%. I really feel like that we have a shot at getting around 1%, maybe 1.5%. But like everyone said, anything's on the table. Kaspa might underperform. Bitcoin might not perform as well. But I do feel like we'll end up maybe somewhere around 8 to 10 trillion overall market cap. And I do think when you look, almost all the projects in the top 10 are layer ones. And I think as you get a lot of more people gaining wealth, they're playing defense. Not everyone needs to try to be a billionaire. So you start making a couple $1 million in crypto, you start to look to protect your wealth and not have to try to get, cum coin and try to get like 100x. So at that point, I think a lot of people are starting to look at a max cap, fixed supply proof of work that no one can control. I can go to move to a different country and not get robbed. Like that's the whole reason why KII is trying to work on this for the carbon credit trading, so that just because there's a new administration in the US doesn't mean that this guy in Dubai gets screwed over because, whatever, the new administration, the flavor for that 4 years doesn't like him. But I feel like $2 to $5 is kind of on the table, but there's so many metrics where we might get to 0.5% market dominance at an $8 trillion market cap would put us like at $1.73, $1.90. Yeah. Things pop off, and that eventually every single exchange will have Kaspa on it. When? Probably not this cycle, but that's going to happen. It's not a matter of when, it's not a matter of if, it's going to be when. So probably one or two will follow this cycle. Maybe, I don't think they all will. I just think that takes time in those organizations. But I do think that looking at market dominance and trying to keep it realistic, that those upper high end numbers are possible. But really, like if you go like $1.93 somehow, is the probability is greater. Like Kaspa could theory go down to 1 penny. That's like a black swan event is on the table. So like, but that's very low probability. Just like if you get up to $10, that's a pretty low probability. But at the same time, it's possible that something like that could happen. So, but looking for me is looking at the metrics of how many the top crypto YouTubers, are their views spiking? Is Bitcoin's YouTube searches spiking? Is Kaspa not YouTube, Google searches, the search trends spiking? Looking at the Pi cycle top indicator for Bitcoin and those other metrics like that. And then the monthly trading volume should be, when the market tops, the monthly trading volume should be blowing away the trading volume right now. At that point, if you want to look to take profit, and that's another thing too, is we all have different life circumstances. So it's really hard to tell people what price, because someone in India can live off less money. To them, $5,000 might set them up for a couple of years. Me personally, I'm trying to look to pay off my house with part of mine. But like you guys said, I think the only thing I want to be holding is, Kaspa and Bitcoin. And even if, because part of me with Kaspa is I'm going to try to take profit with part of what I have and buy back in lower, but I'm not probably going to play it right. And so I want to make sure I have enough Kaspa where if I play everything wrong, or now that we have the ETFs in, we don't know. Maybe this cycle's different. Maybe there isn't quite the bottom. We don't know, because when you look at the gold ETF, it basically went on a 10-year bull run. So I'm not a super cycle person, but at the end of the day, none of us know anything. Just like you could have looked before the election and saw polls saying that Harris was going to win here, polls saying Trump was going to win here. Basically, at the end of the day, we're circling the sun, and none of us exactly know, but trying to be as most rational and less emotional, because when like this price dipped down to 10 cents, basically since about a year ago when Kaspa went from 5 to 15 cents, it's really held this 10-cent support multiple times. It's wicked down, but like good luck at those times when it wicked under 10 cents. I mean, you had to have a trading bot, something to scoop that up. So at the end of the day, I think that there's a lot of money probably going to be made here, and try to be rational. And if you want to take some profit, the best point is the dollar cost average. What else? And outside of for me, like meme coins, NFTs, anything else, I'm going to sell all that, because they're basically going to go down to almost nothing in the bear market, and find projects like Kaspa or Bitcoin. And, I think that there's so much wealth in the world that's going to move on chain that that you just got to be patient. If you look at people who've been patient with Bitcoin multiple cycles, it's been rewarded. And you'll probably, in 5 or 10 years, there'll be people that, I sent my friend 5,000 Kaspa back last October. It was like $300, and it got up to 1,000, went down. But I said, dude, keep your seed phrase. Like, make sure you don't screw around with that, because that could be one of those stories where, really long term, that someone could be like, man, my buddy sent me 5,000 Kaspa, and if I'd have just it doesn't seem like a lot, but basically that's like 3 Bitcoins worth of ownership of the Kaspa network is, because to have 1/21 millionth of the network. And so I think that even that's what's easy to talk people into Kaspa right now is you can, for basically a couple $100, buy 1/21 millionth ownership of the network. And so that's actually a pretty high ownership of this network that could be, with KRC just starting the tip of the iceberg, payment channels, everything with like KII plus smart contracts and stuff we don't even know about. And so most likely too, I think with this next administration, that the SEC more favorable, it's possible in this next market, even if it goes into a bear market, we could see with Grayscale saying it's going to be on their currency list, that most likely you could see potentially even a Kaspa ETF, which that opens up a whole new segment of people that want to, they're 60 plus that have money in their retirement accounts. So I guess, sorry, I kind of rambled on there a little bit, but that's some of my thoughts.
Yeah, did you see the question? What are your predictions for Kaspa at the end of next year's bull run?
I said between $2 and $5.
Oh, did you? Okay, fair enough. Okay. I didn't hear that.
Okay, sorry, I kind of rambled on.
No, I'm only messing. Miner.
Yeah, I think you're right, between 2 and 5 or 3 and 5. But like you guys mentioned, I think once the price gets up around $1 and $1.50, there's going to be a pretty big sell-off. So I think that's going to kind of slow the price action down as well. So a lot of people on my channel are waiting, right? Patiently waiting to drop. Somebody said they're going to drop 20% at 50 cents, another 25% at 75, and the remaining at $1. So definitely going to be a lot of selling, right? Because a lot of people have been in Kaspa since before, like, when it was a hay penny. So once it gets to that dollar range, that might be the first major sell-off. And then there's people like us that's probably going to hold it and keep holding it. So I think that'll kind of average out the selling off. And then with a lot of exchanges or bigger businesses or entities moving in, the price will stay pretty solid and then start to rise up again. So I think that will actually figure into the price action heavily in the beginning.
I would just like to add, I just saw a comment about the ETF, about Kaspa ETF. That wasn't something I was talking about, like I think it's going to happen anytime soon, because maybe somehow I did. I just see that, like maybe 2 or 3 years. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen this cycle, but just something that I think that with this new administration, the SEC could bring more ETFs on board, and with Grayscale behind it, it's a possibility, but not. I wouldn't expect that to happen next year.
Guys, I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to drop out now, but it's been an absolute privilege. Love this space, and really appreciate you inviting me on. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on short notice. I only messaged you like an hour ago.
Yeah, no, it was good. I've really enjoyed this, but I've got to get going. But I really appreciate it. And if you're doing it again, hit me up. I'll happily come on.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by.
No, appreciate it.
Much appreciated.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, man. See ya.
Thanks for joining.
Cheers, man.
Does anybody know what we call a group of Caspians? Is there a name for it yet?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Maybe Caspians, huh? I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Keep it simple, I guess.
Yeah. All the big players in the Cas community. I don't think 80 billion market cap is crazy, is it? What do you guys think? We spoke about that earlier. Not really. What were you saying? 80 billion is about $3, is it? So.
Extremely roughly. I don't know. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But I don't think 80 billion's out of the question because like we were talking about, layer ones, the top layer ones last cycle, other than Ethereum, were topping out around the $80,000 mark, or I'm sorry, $80 billion mark, and the whole entire market cap of crypto is going to be higher this time around. So I would imagine that if we think that Kaspa is going to be in the top 10, it should fairly easily, in my opinion, get to an $80 billion market cap. But obviously we're speculating here. We don't know for sure.
Yeah. Sorry for all the questions. Do you really think Kaspa can replace the fiat system? Could potentially be a global digital cash system. I don't think Kaspa will because it's too volatile, but I think stable coins on Kaspa could be good. Anybody else on that?
You're probably looking at like right now, the dollar is the reserve currency, but you still have lots of euros, Japanese yen, the British pound, and so it's not completely, even though the dollar is the reserve currency, it's not a complete one currency world. Most likely on chain, you'll probably see something like that. I don't know.
I guess in a good world, it could be the silver to Bitcoin gold, right? I actually do a lot of the transaction processing for Bitcoin, but I'd have to figure out how they would merge in with the actual processing or kind of partner with Bitcoin. But that would be pretty awesome if it's able to do that. As
But
far as
Bitcoin could end up being, could just be a store of value, which is actually a huge market, to
definitely.
store your wealth, or just large, very large transactions. It's okay. Like if you're going to pay a guy $1 billion, you don't need that confirmation in 10 seconds, final settlement. You can wait a little bit longer, but Kaspa getting up to 10 blocks to 100 blocks per second. And, then the DAG night could be where you could actually probably go into 7-Eleven and actually use it. If you had a tangent ring and you're be able to, that's something that's possible, I guess.
Yeah, definitely with the speed too, because if you tried to go in this 7-Eleven now with Ethereum or Bitcoin, it takes minutes to get the process to go through. Versus,
well, sometimes with Bitcoin, there's the next block, sometimes not even for 70 minutes, and then if it was some kind of inscriptions or runes or something, you might not even have the transaction fee. I mean, you're not going to pay a $5 transaction fee for your, $3 soda that you're going to, and then wait 70 minutes in the corner of 7-Eleven on your phone while you're waiting for it to go through.
oh
Yeah, bring a tent and your pillow because you're going to be there a while. So.
And that's if it's if it's a big mint day, like like when the day that the runes launched, people are trying to pay a lot of money to etch on those first blocks. I mean, to do a basic transaction, you're just not going to be using it. So people know that, and pretty much it seems like the layer 2 options are centralized. So I think people are going to shift. And I even know like Bitcoin University, who's kind of anti-Kaspa in his videos, I think that there's something like that. I felt like in his videos, even though he's against anything but Bitcoin, I felt like there was this little sliver in the back of his mind during that video where he thought there was something there with Kaspa. And that means a lot because he pretty much hates everything except for Bitcoin. And I think you might see some more Bitcoin people, and there's going to be a lot of liquidity there that slowly start to go like, hey, I can still keep a lot of my wealth and play defense with Bitcoin, but hey, there's this other proof of work. And I might be speculating on Bitcoin University, and he did make some kind of anti-Kaspa stuff, but I did feel like there's this little sliver in the back of his mind that felt like there's something here.
Yeah.
And mainly because people were bringing up some of the early blocks. I don't know, some of the Genesis blocks or whatever, and there's FUD there, and he was like in his comment section saying, no, I researched that, and that FUD's not true. And so he did enough research. So, you get a guy like that who, starts to open up that possibility. Anything's on the table.
Yeah. This is from David Duncan. Hi guys, I took a big loss on a 3x trade with Kaspa, followed it down from 16 to 11 cent, adding more money, etc. It was house money, thinking about going back in. I was trying to hold for $1. Like you, Dave, I sold half a Bitcoin at 18 cents, so I'm down on that, but I haven't sold anything, even on KRC20 tokens. I don't use my Kaspa bag. I just get new money. So I haven't touched anything. It's going to go down. You just have to hold it. It's going to go back up. And I have to say not financial advice, but that's what I'm doing. That's probably what the lads are doing. What do you think, guys?
Oh, I'm not even considering anything. I mean, right now it's so like I feel like a million miles away from when I even plan on selling any. So it's like the market's really kicking off with everything, and I mean, if you really look, Bitcoin's up from 17,000 to 76,000. So I do feel like the bull market's happened, but the real parabolic phase hasn't happened. So I'm just like not even thinking about selling anytime soon. Next year when the markets look different, I'll start considering it.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely too early to start selling or even thinking about selling. Right? If you've held it so far, right, I would continue to hold at least to 50 cents or 75 cents, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Pumpelinski, keep up the great work, guys. Maybe we get him on another one. Squeeze in another few people. Kaspa KRC will really pump now. Rajana, I love this lineup. Thanks for watching. Kaspa BTC seems like the new Bitcoin for the masses. Yeah. A 50 million market cap in Nacho is nothing if Kaspa goes back to 17 cents.
I'm going to chime in for a second about that that comment about trading. I just want to caution everybody to be careful when you're doing leverage trading, because you want to make sure you have an extremely strict stop loss, or you're going to lose all your money real quick a lot of times. And for me, I don't actually trade. I've kind of thought about it sometimes because you can make a lot more money in a short period of time. But for my luck, what's going to happen is I'm not going to set a stop loss correctly. And whatever I decide to do, go long or short, the market will do the opposite. It's 100%, because I have that kind of luck when it comes to stuff like that. So I know there's a lot of people out there that are more experienced in trading than I am, but I would just, exercise caution when you're playing with leverage, because some of the stories I've heard are extremely bad, where people are losing life savings and stuff like that in a matter of seconds. So, we wick down to 8 cents for a flash crash, and, the money you put in there and some's probably gone. So be careful.
Yeah. Did you three get the Dog K airdrop? I made that list somehow. I have a little bit, but I didn't get it on the airdrop. Have you guys got Dag Night Dog?
I don't have Dognet. I don't.
What were the qualifications for the airdrop? I haven't checked my wallet, my KRC20 wallet in a while.
Don't know. I think you had to like and follow them and subscribe. Was it email details? I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I don't think I have any then, because I don't think I did that. So
yeah, I didn't get any either.
I'm pretty suspicious when it comes to airdrops too. I've done a lot of airdrop hunting in the past, and it never amounts to anything. It seems like for instance, a project like Sui, before it was even launched, I did a bunch of airdrop hunting for that, and then they decided not to airdrop to anybody that was playing around in the ecosystem. And then other ones that I've done, I put in a ton of time, a ton of money for fees and stuff like that, and I typically never get anything. So I don't know how all these people make a ton of money on it. I know the Dag Night Dog wasn't really like that. I think it was just like and follow, like you said. But when I'm also suspicious when random tokens just decide to show up in your wallet. You know what I mean?
But without smart contracts, they're not dodgy, are they? I moved them all to a separate wallet, but as far as I know, they can't do anything to you, can they? Because we haven't got smart contracts yet.
Yeah, I think since it's like basically, these are basically partially signed Kaspa transactions, aren't they? In some instance, like the runes or like the Bitcoin ordinals, which are nice because, yeah, I think that with the Ethereum, people airdrop you, and if you just interact with that, they can drain your wallet. I
Yeah,
don't think they can, as far as I know, the KRC20s, they can't drain your wallet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've
I'm not
had a
100%
wallet.
sure, right?
Yeah, I've had a wallet drained once because of that. And so I'm like super sketchy when something just randomly shows up.
Yeah, I've
I
only had one
usually
good
never touch it.
airdrop, and that was on Bitcoin ordinals because I was early in that, so I had 3. And if you had 3 of them, you got a runestone airdrop. And then because if you had the runestone, then you had you got the dog go to the moon token airdrop, which is about maybe $4,000 or $5,000 worth for each one. And then they also had this other project called Risk, and I had one just show up my wallet, and I was like, "Holy crap!" And I was like, "Wow, $600." And then I sold mine, and then I was looking, I checked my dad's wallet, and he's like, "Oh, he didn't have anything." And I was like, didn't look at it right. And I looked at his wallet later. I was like, "Holy crap! You have like 3 of them, and they're up to like $2,500." And they got up to like 4 or 5 grand each. And but we ended up, he made 5 grand. But I think airdrop hunting is a massive amount of time, and like I know, like in the last bull run, I don't have time to grind through Discord and Telegram for hours trying to leave messages in a community just to try to get on their list. I think you're better off just buy Kaspa and Bitcoin and just hold on to it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I did the airdrop hunting for 1 season, and I literally got nothing out of it, and I spent a hell of a lot of time and a little bit of money in gas fees. A lot of it was on Ethereum, so you're a little bit of money actually probably wasn't a little bit of money because of the gas fees on Ethereum, but it's a ton of time. I would set out like an hour or 2 a night to just like go through and do some stuff. It was awful. Never again.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Just Ranjana. I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm just going to ruin it. Kasper the Ghost to Kaspa. I've had that since day one. So, yeah, I have a nice bag of Kasper. Do you guys have Kasper the Ghost?
I'm probably going to pick some more up. I didn't really get the narrative at first, but now that looking back in the story and seeing people are actually getting it, I'm probably going to pick some more up the next dip. And back to the airdrop. I've never got anything out of airdrops. I've been in crypto for a long time and never got anything, right? I got a couple of airdrops. I think I got a NFT that drained one of my wallets. So after that, I don't even mess around with that at all.
Anybody have an answer for that or any views? When will be the peak of the meme coin KRC20 season?
My thoughts on that is it seems like meme coins are usually what ends the altcoin season. And so I would imagine, I could be wrong on this. This cycle could be different. Meme coins seem to have run longer and more often this bear market, so I could be completely wrong. But last cycle, if I remember correctly, meme coins ended the last cycle. So it would be, if the cycle ends in November and it's roughly the same, time period as previous cycles, then we would see a blow off top for meme coins. And I would imagine KRC20 would potentially fall into that category, towards the end of the cycle in roughly October, November, when they start going parabolic. But they could also just follow Kaspa too, whenever Kaspa decides to do its blow off top with the rest of the layer ones. So it's hard to tell, but at least my experience in past cycles, it seems like the meme coins are the last to run to actually end the cycle before we fall back into a bear market. So.
Yeah. Sorry, last question. If Kaspa could replace the Fiat system, wouldn't that be a threat to the fiat system? And if that's the case, do you think the government would they support or be against it? Well, right now it's a nightmare to buy crypto. Like, it's very hard. Like, the bank keeps freezing my current account card, so I went with an online bank called Revolut, and I don't have any problems with them. So the banks even make it difficult to buy crypto. And besides that, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be easy. Do you think it would ever happen in the future?
I think the banks see it as competition. So you're right. Even with my card, initially with crypto.com, they only let you do a couple transactions and then they'll freeze your card. And I've heard of people who tried and not even being able to do it. So I think the banking system is kind of side-eyeing crypto. So at some point, if crypto does get deeper into the fiat, the banks will be pushed out, right? Because why would you need a bank if you could do it all through your cryptocurrency accounts or your wallets or an exchange? So I don't think they would be, I guess, open to partnering with them, right? They kind of see it as a major threat to the fiat system. So the government would probably not support it, right?
Yeah, that's the whole
I,
point, isn't it? That I have a wallet and you have a wallet, and we just skip the bank. People in third world countries that can't
Correct.
get the banks, if they have a phone, they can send and receive money. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. I don't think the current system that we are involved in is going to accept Kaspa. They'll accept some sort of crypto. You know, a lot of people say it might be XRP. I don't know for a fact, but they can control XRP, right? Because there's people behind the project that will play ball. Or they're going to create their own their own chain, their own coins, their own anything that they can control. Kaspa might potentially be that other side of the coin where if you don't want to be part of the regular fiat system that we live in, it could grow to be potentially the biggest alternative to the current fiat system, but I don't think it'll ever, take over what we currently have, because the people in power are never going to allow that. They need control, and they're not going to have it with Kaspa. So that's just basically the bottom line, I believe, and what we have to deal with. So
Kaspa KRC20 listed on Coinex today. I haven't got any Kaspa. I never got any. None of you guys have any?
nope.
And I'm going for a 3x again, Kaspa 2.8. Yeah. David has a lot of questions there. Better keep going. Good evening, guys. How you doing? Nacho, Kango, Conan, and Nacho are the best. Nachi. I never heard of Nachi.
I haven't heard of that first one either. Conan and Kango and Nacho definitely, but not that first one. That's
Yeah,
new to me.
Kango. Yeah, Kango's doing really well. Should have got some of that. It's not too late, I suppose.
Nachi's probably a play on Nacho. It's probably his wife or sister or girlfriend or, everybody tries to.
Gabriel Mendez, bro, Kaspa just died. If I had a boo button, I'd hit that now. Boo. Gabriel's terrible. Kaspa's definitely underperforming by a lot. That's David again. Kaspa is a scam. Boo. In what way is it a scam? No.
You never see those people elaborate. They'll do a one comment, three words, Kaspa scam, but they'll never have any substance behind what they say. If you comment on them, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Crypto's tribal. There's going to be people that hate it. There's going to be people that love it, right? Just like any other cryptocurrency. I'm sure any other influencers on, that cover just Bitcoin or just any other project have the same thing coming in, where this is a scam, that's a scam. So we're all tribal. We shouldn't be, but we are.
Maldo, no, we need a proper DEX, and this will help Kaspa price. Yeah, maybe. I think it's the centralized exchanges. I'm not big on DEXs. I don't know. Do you guys use DEXs much?
Over the years, I have, but in general, not a ton. Just more. That's more for me. That's more degen stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've used a bunch in the past, but it depends on what I'm doing and what I need to do, I guess. It would be nice because there's a lot of people out there that do use dexes. It'd be nice to have multiple good dexes because I think that that's part of the scenario that is going to just make Kaspa more accessible to people who like using them. And then you'll have the centralized exchange scenario, and then you'll have wallets where you can swap. Obviously, the swaps in the wallets will use dexes as well, but I think we need a good bunch of everything to make it well-rounded for everybody's purposes and what they want to do in the Kaspa ecosystem.
I think Kraken announcement is coming soon. I hope so, but nobody knows. Is there any KRC20 we should be looking at out to mint in the near future? I'm well behind on my KRC20 lately. I haven't heard anything, but Blockchain Banter is on Monday nights. Plenty of alpha on that. That's where KDAO got advertised, and that's when the transaction count hit the record that night. So that got advertised on Blockchain Banter. So I'd listen to that show on Mondays because there's loads of alpha on that about new tokens. I did wonder why Hoodie and Pumps had the same thumbnail. That's the Cat Daddy created the thumbnail, and that's why me and Hoodie used it. I don't know if you guys got it up in the end, did you? You had a bit of trouble.
I think my stream has the same thumbnail as well.
Right.
They just might not be subscribed to me potentially. Also, you guys, make sure you subscribe. Everybody's accounts are in the comment section.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I had the same thumbnail too. I think we all shared that same thumbnail. I think that's a play on the, what was that? Pumps and Hoodie is the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's because Hoodie uses that deep fake all the time, man. Look in the wallet, you can see all the KRC20 tokens held by CoinEx. They own about 1 million of Nacho. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see which one of these or which few of these tokens are the most successful when it's all said and done. We'll look back at the end of the bull cycle and, either have regrets or, be cheering, saying we made the best decision in the world financially. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Do you think Kaspa will get a Coinbase and a Binance listing in 2025?
Yes. Binance for sure.
Kraken, Binance. Mike Tyson, the like and subscribe button.
Kaspa in the house. Let's go, legends. Coinbase listing is coming like right now. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. What do you guys actually think about that scenario where everybody's calling them out? I feel like I'll give my take real quick. I feel like it's kind of weird that we even have to do that. You know what I mean? Because other projects are not doing that. But at the same time, I think the KII is so... I think they hold a lot of weight behind them. And so I think that them actually pressuring them might have some sort of positive outcome. I just think it's weird that we need to tell them publicly and harass them almost that we need a listing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
It's like a 50-50. It's kind of like, I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, if it works, awesome. When it's all said and done. I just think at this point it seems kind of weird. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, like you, the KII has the DII behind it. Big energy companies of the world, a lot of power there. So, and they know the law and they know compliance. So they did say they were breaking laws or breaking rules in that tweet. So maybe they got scared a bit and they finally answered. So I think it's something to do with the KII sending the letter.
Justin's son accused Coinbase of charging him, like they wanted like 50 million TRX tokens, and they also wanted money. So I'm not sure if that's true. I mean, I wouldn't trust Justin's son to mow my yard, so I'm not sure about that. But I guess there's no reason why it's not going to be, since it's a fair launch, decentralized proof of work. I mean, so all these other guys are putting all sorts of, like Binance is putting all sorts of like junk meme coins on there that don't perform very well. So, and like it might go back to what you guys talked about earlier about some of it might be that they're not listing it so they can buy more and load up for liquidity. And then once Coinbase lists it, they know that it might 2x off that, or at least go up 20 to 50%. So right there, that's the thing is, like, how much do you really have to pay? Those guys have a whole team of guys coding. They and all these other smaller exchanges integrated it. So what, Coinbase, the publicly traded company that's more valuable than these other companies, can't figure it out? They can. And most likely
they 100% can figure it out if the smaller exchanges can figure it out. It's not a technical issue.
And they know that if I'm Coinbase and that, like, okay, say there's $50 million of Kaspa traded every day, even if you just kind of went on some market and bought on MEXC and you're just buying 5% of the daily trading volume on that exchange, you're not going to move the needle on the price. You load up, spread it about a bunch of wallets. Even if they spent like $50 million doing that, they know that the second they announced their listing it, the price would jump, and they'd even probably have someone leak it out to CoinDesk or something.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they're going to make their money back on the first day, probably.
I would agree. And I always make it a point to say the exchanges aren't stupid. So if I recall last bull cycle, a lot of the layer ones that did real well, the exchange listed them right before the parabolic part of the bull cycle, because that's when the FOMO is there, and that's where they're going to make a hell of a lot of money on trading fees. And they take advantage of that. So I would imagine that they're waiting until the market fully turns around, right? We got a sense that it might be starting to do that right now. After the U.S. election happened a couple days ago, everything's in the green, double digits. I haven't looked at anything today, but at least yesterday and the day before, just based on that information. But the bull cycle and the altcoins next year is when they're going to run, if they're going to run, right? So I imagine that exchanges know this, and exchanges are going to make their announcement when the sentiment is more positive. And that's when the FOMO is going to come in, and that's when they're going to make the most amount of their money on trading fees during that point in time. So I would imagine they're accumulating right now, which is why the price is down a little lower. Again, speculation, but they're going to end up listing when the whole entire market is a little bit more bright and a little bit more green, and things have turned around for good, and we are officially, day after day after day seeing green candles. So that's just my thought process anyway.
I agree with you, but probably got to pack it up in a second. Got to go pick the kids up. But you're right. The exchanges have financial analysts, and they have people looking at the numbers every day. So they're in it to make money. So they're going to find when's the maximum time for them to list it to get the maximum amount of returns. So I figure towards next year, once it starts pumping, they see the money flowing back into the crypto and back into the ecosystems. Then they're going to wait to the perfect time to list it so they can get the maximum return on their investment. So they're probably still buying up currencies while the price is down. And as the election ended, things are going up. So expect to see some new listings within the next quarter, right? Probably January or in the second to third quarter, when they can get as much bang for their buck out of what they've already purchased. But thanks for inviting me. It's been a great live, but I gotta go pick the kids up. So
No
thanks,
problem.
and Let me know when you guys are ready to do another stream.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, thanks for coming. We'll see you later.
Yeah,
All right,
thank
have a
you.
good
Have a
one.
good day.
All right.
Yeah. Hoodie, are you Satoshi? Did you
Yep.
create Bitcoin? Yeah. Okay.
I'm just sitting on 1 million Bitcoin, but I want to go ahead and get a YouTube channel.
Okay. Calling. Kaspa just needs a tier 1 exchange to grow.
They're coming. They're coming. I would imagine we see something Q1 next year. If not, Kraken by the end of this year because it's already kind of out there.
We are still early. Load up. The next 4 months are going to be wild. Yeah. Hit the like button. Yes, please. Like and subscribe.
Basically, no one on planet Earth even knows Kaspa exists. A very niche amount of people in crypto, and even some people in crypto aren't really paying attention to it, because you look on there and even like that Leo coin that's above Kaspa, it's like I've never heard anyone ever talk about Leo. I've never heard a video or anything. So, two is like with the tax software that you do to try to get your taxes. They're not integrated with Kaspa. Like eventually, all that stuff will be, but people know about Bitcoin, and that's it. Most people on planet Earth know about Bitcoin, but very few people on Earth know about Kaspa. So if it ever gets to the point where a larger percentage of people know about Kaspa, the price will be higher.
Yeah, I agree. And some of the market caps in crypto in general are absolutely ridiculous and laughable. The amount of money, that brings a certain project, like you mentioned, Leo, up to a certain market cap is unfathomable to me.
DD, cool to see you together doing a live. Continue, guys. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. Good. I love that KII letter to Coinbase. Having them on airside is amazing. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that BTC going against Kaspa is very healthy. I think Kaspa went up so much when nothing was moving in the market with the futures market. Yeah, I heard that Mira is mining. They mine Kaspa and BTC. It was in the earning report. Yeah, we all made videos about that, didn't we?
Pretty much everyone covered that. Yeah, it'll be interesting. They should have their next quarterly report coming out soon, but it'll be kind of backlogged a few months. But we'll see what they're holding on their reserve there.
Kaspa has a reserve currency. Great to see these guys together. Watch you all individually. Thanks, Octopus.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. I bought Kaspa at 18 cent, 19 cent, and I'm down. Any advice? Yeah. Hold. Yeah.
Hold on.
You're still early.
The worst thing you can do is sell it at 11 cents. That's the epitome of buy high, sell low. You want to do the opposite. Buy low, sell high.
Yeah, there's another.
So just hold on. It's going to get back up to 18, 19 cents at some point here, I would imagine, fairly soon. And then we will outperform the 18, 19 cents drastically once we move into next year or so. It sucks seeing your portfolio down, but just hold on.
That's Levendi, bro. He co-hosts, or he hosts Blockchain Banter with Chris that was on. So, hey, Levendi. Love the group of guys here. Kaspa is king. Thanks, Bobby. Love that chair, CryptoPumpz. I don't. It's squeaky and it's broken and it looks like it has dandruff because there's all this white stuff coming off the bottom of the seat. But there's a Spanish for Kaspa. Dandruff.
Yeah. Yeah, when the leather starts to flake off like that, that's fun.
Yeah,
it's all over the place.
I don't think Kaspa will go below 10 cents, and it was shocking to me that it went that far down. Don't think a $3.9 billion asset can go much farther down. Yeah, I don't think so, David, either. It bounced at 10 cents a few times now, hasn't it? So
the only way we're probably the 10 cent is very strong support. The only way it's going to go below that and hold below that, I think, is if we get some black swan event, which I don't think is going to happen.
My favorite streamer. Who's that aimed at?
He's going to make us guess who his favorite is.
Yeah. Yeah. Fed cut 25. That was today.
That's a good sign.
Do you see a realistic chance that we could see a tier 1 listing before the end of the year? I think Kraken will be first because it was in their roadmap, wasn't it? So
yeah, I think if we do see any exchange by the end of the year, it's going to be Kraken. I definitely think there's a chance that we see one by the end of the year. If not, we're going to see, I think, multiple in Q1, maybe Q2 of 2025.
there was a new wallet that purchased 25k CAS this morning. I wonder what entity that might be. I don't know. Binance just around the corner.
Absolutely.
I don't think that 25,000 Kaspa is that much of a bendy, bro, but yeah. Maybe he's missing a few zeros there.
Typo.
Yeah. Appreciate you, fellas. The hard work is greatly appreciated. Thanks, Demore. Exactly. Easier experience for users. That's a tangent next week, is it? Yeah.
Potentially, yeah.
That would definitely help. Kaspi is hidden blue chip. Most of the people too distracted by Conan or Nacho. No, Kaspi is. I think it's got the best story of all the KRC20 tokens, and that'll make it stand out, similar to Turbo. Revenge Bro, Chaos PR maybe releasing details started this week about the Chrome wallet. Oh yeah, that's what Chris saw that come up in the chat. I think I reminded him. Yeah, they're coming out of the wallet. When Lambo, please. Yeah.
2025.
Yeah.
That's the year. Year of the Lambos.
Hello from Germany. Hello. Appreciate the stream. Definitely would like to see more of this solid right here. Yeah, we'll try and make it happen.
Absolutely.
Mark my words, number 1 will be Nacho, 2 Kaspi, 3 Kango, 4 Conan, Dog Cats, Real Story, Kango.
We'll bookmark this for 2025.
Yeah. Fair launch KRC20. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
Fair launch to KRC20 is the best ecosystem for memes. Koba moving up, join the tribe before it's too late. X2 listings, yeah. We're all getting a lot of central exchange listings. It's great. Need tangent to list Nacho, yeah. Kaspi is the best meme on Kaspa. You're going very quiet, Hoodie. You need to talk if I'm not, because we're both quiet at the same time.
Oh, okay.
People are going to still think we're the same person.
What do you guys think if Trump followed through and makes Bitcoin a strategic reserve? Do you think that might lead to some other countries? Or, I mean, one, he might not follow through on it, so you don't know. But if he did, I mean, there's all those factors that could make a difference on how high Bitcoin soars, which feels like the higher Bitcoin soars, the more room it gives alts to go. You know, if Bitcoin goes to 200,000 or 250, then the room for alts to go up to 100 billion feels like a lot more on the table.
Yeah, for me, it felt like no matter which candidate won that election, I know some of you guys aren't in the U.S., but it's a big market, and it felt like Bitcoin was going to be fine either way, but altcoins were going to be iffy if, Kamala Harris might have won the election. I don't know that for a fact, but they seem to be a little more strict when it came to anything but Bitcoin. And now that Trump has won, I think altcoins have a much larger chance of having a very good bull cycle this time around. We'll see how that plays out. But as far as the reserve, I I have a feeling there's some resentment backed up in the whole Donald Trump thing. I think he's going to do a lot of what he says he's going to do and kind of flip things on, its head as far as the way we've seen things done in the past. But we'll see. Um, like you said, who knows if he's actually going to, make it a reserve currency for the U.S. or not. But I have a feeling there's a chance, a good chance that he might. So.
Yeah, they'll have a couple of years potentially with all three of the House and Senate, at least until maybe 2 years, where who knows, with regulations, or we know that Gary Gensler is going to be gone, so we know that should be more favorable. And then I think if he makes it a stockpile, whether they buy more, if he just converts the 200,000 Bitcoin they have into a stockpile, but Trump's got his NFTs, and actually we bought into some of his NFTs and went down to his Mar-a-Lago event. We're not really big into politics, but we just had those, and he's got those NFTs. He's made money with crypto, so he understands that. And and he's got that World Liberty Finance, which was kind of a flop. It didn't sell out of what they were trying to get, but he understands that they made money with it. And then I don't know how serious he is with how close he is with RFK Jr., but RFK Jr. is pretty into it. And then the Vice President elect Vance has got over $250,000 worth of Bitcoin. So
yeah, and I think he mentioned too for those in the U.S. Something about capital gains tax being eliminated, or at least the percentage going down drastically. I can't remember the exact wordage. But I remember him saying something about that. So that would increase, if that does happen, that would increase your earnings and your profits this cycle by an astronomical amount if you're not paying 30-ish, 40% capital gains tax. So.
And if you sold off some of your Bitcoin toward the end of the cycle, that would, people would keep, they'd run more money into altcoins if that was the case. And
100%.
Trump,
Yeah.
And he made some pretty big tax changes. My accountant said that it was like some of the biggest changes anyone's ever made. And they actually stayed on the books until next year. A lot of people don't know because they're so emotional about politics. But his tax stuff still stayed on chain. And still the average person was paying less taxes. He might have given breaks to the big guys. But who knows what's going to happen. I know he's really into tariffs. And I don't think he's going to eliminate income tax altogether. I just think that that's too much. I mean, that's the same thing with like Harris saying that she wanted to do the unrealized capital gains on all the guys with over $100 million. I'm like, okay, is Larry Fink and Wall Street going to let her do that? She was trying to. That was just something
not to him, but to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, we're this is going to be an exciting year, and we don't know how exactly it's going to play out, but pretty much everything should be higher roughly this time next year, or peaked a few months before this. And it could be life-changing for us. And that could be, for some people, they take that vacation to, I don't know, Hawaii, or they go to Thailand for the first time, or they pay off their mom's car, or they pay off their student loans or their house, or they just build up their wealth of whatever bag they had. And that's what's pretty cool, is that, and part of it is that, for me, like, you get some wealth and you're kind of like, can almost feel like, man, how do I deserve this? But like some of this, like the David that bought the Kaspa at 19, 18 cents is down to 11, and other people that are all in on Bitcoin last time, and Bitcoin went down to 17,000 and bought them at 16, 17,000. Once your account goes up to that, even if you only put 5,000 into Kaspa when it was, a fraction of a penny, and it went up to, say somehow it went up to something crazy like $10, you would still feel like that money's yours when your account showed that. And so we're stomaching all this volatility and FUD and all that. You're basically, that's like the school of hard knocks. And that's one reason why if you get some profits, you earned it, because it's not easy to buy something, see it go up, see it go down. Everyone, maybe you just have a little sliver in the back of your mind is like, okay, is this really the one? We all have doubts and we question ourselves, and Bitcoin could have some bug that no one knows about that gets exposed, and how quick would Wall Street sell off? We don't know. I mean, so so I don't know. That's just something about taking profits, or if you take profits and feeling like you deserve it, because all this bear market and even this first half of the bull market, you have to earn it and hold it. It's not easy to hold. Most people can't hold through the times, and so
Yeah,
if you do good next year.
yeah, there's a reason why only a small percentage of people actually succeed in this industry, is because of what we're going through right now, right? It's extremely difficult to hold through the ups and the downs, and only a small percentage of people are built for that. The ones that are, this time next year, I would imagine, are going to be sitting very well and partying. you know, things are going to be very different this time next year, and a lot of us who are able to sit through and stomach everything are going to be pretty well off. So,
What is capital gains for you guys? Is it different every state, or is it just the same rate for the whole country?
federally, I think 35%.
Yeah, some states have state tax, some states don't. And then if you have it with under 1 year, it's higher. If it's over 1 year, it's so you really, in crypto, you really want to hold over 1 year because it goes down a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then some states add an extra tax on top of that.
Oh, okay. It's 33% here. There's Kaspa KII is watching. There you go. Good job on your letter to Coinbase, by the way. Caspian singular or Caspians plural. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
If it gets listed on Binance and Coinbase, it'll start booming hard and fast. Yeah.
As long as it's listed at the right time when the market's good.
The fact that there's only 22 people in here is extremely bullish. We're still super early, and it shows how far behind on the chats we are, because it was up at 100 and something, and now it's back at 91. We're closer to a penny than a dollar. Don't play yourself. The Satoshi evaluation of your portfolio should be your focus. Kaspa is very niche instead of crypto, which is also very niche in finance. And generally, people don't know about finance. Being early is a gift. Don't turn it into a course. By the way, I love this channel. Whichever one he's watching. Thanks for that. Another .25 interest rate cut. I've been buying at every price since 10 cents to 21 cents and back down to where it is now from this year. There is no chance I'm selling anytime soon, no matter the price action. Yeah, same.
Yeah, I would obviously everybody's going to have their own theories and have their own way of going about, their financial situation, all that kind of stuff. But I would tell people that if you're planning on holding Kaspa through the bear market, at least take your initials out, because anything can happen in crypto. And obviously we think it's going to be around for years to come, right? But I would imagine there's other projects that people have thought that about as well that didn't end up sticking around. And if you spend your money, the price goes up, at least take your initials back out. I would, that's just my take on things, I guess. And that way, if, God forbid, the super small percent chance that, we don't see Kaspa next cycle make new all-time highs, then at least you're not out money. It's all, it's all profit at that point. So
no one went broke taking profit.
Exactly. And I'm not trying to tell everybody that Kaspa is not going to be here next cycle. I think it very well is going to be here next cycle. But it's better to be safe than sorry. And I, for one, am going to take profits. I'm going to keep a small percentage of it. But I would encourage everybody to at least take your initials back out so that if something does happen, then you guys are covered and you're not losing money. So that's just my take on things.
I agree. Getting your initial back's never a bad thing. And most of my regrets versus, man, I should have bought more of Nacho when I minted, you know, because I was like stopped minting when it was like still like only like 40% minted. Most of mine is like there's this one towards the end of the last bull run. It was a Cardano metaverse play. It was when the metaverse was taken off on like Decentraland and Sandbox. I was like, oh, there's this cheap one on Cardano. And then I bought the land, and then they're doing a token airdrop for the land. So I started buying more land and got a ton of those tokens. And like 10 grand went to 120 grand in a month. And I just never got my initial back, never sold the profit. And then, of course, in the bear market, that just slowly dripped into nothing. And seems like my biggest regrets are not taking any profit on something. It doesn't mean you have to sell it all. Just, you know, sell part of it and get your money back. Or, hey, if you got, 10x and you get double your money back, then you're winning.
Exactly.
Yeah, it takes years of practice to use a demo account if you want to play leverage. Yeah. So the dog pay airdrop, legit airdrop. It's still worth just over 1,200 if you're holding.
Yeah, congratulations to anybody who got that and was active enough to get the Dag Night Dog airdrop. If it's worth that much, that's awesome.
Yeah. Wanted to cast YouTube lost 20K because of the Telegram fake bot. That was Tommy Does Crypto. He had one setting in his Telegram that was wrong that allowed them to add them. So he was in the KRC bot general chat. I don't know if you noticed, but because he had in his Telegram settings, you have to disable. People can't add you automatically to groups, and they added him to another KSPR bot general chat. So when he had questions, he ended up going into the wrong chat. He went into the fake one, and that's where it all went wrong. So just make sure in Telegram that you have your settings correct, and don't let people message you, stuff like that, because it is full of scammers. Telegram and Discord, you have to be on your best guard in there. Yeah, but he got it all back. All the community. That's what's great about the community. They all came back together and they donated. Kaspa donated to him. I think Kaspa and Nacho. So he made back what he had. Wouldn't get that anywhere else. The reason KRC20 randoms come in is because they want to make their project seem popular, but it's not scary. What's up, guys? Just wondering, but might be way off on this. When smart contracts release, what do you think will happen with the KRC20? Will current KRC20 tokens relaunch directly on smart contracts? What I heard, I can't remember where I heard it, but I did hear that they'll just run side by side. KRC20 tokens aren't going anywhere, and then just other stuff will launch on smart contracts. Have you guys heard anything about that?
I haven't.
I haven't either. I would imagine there's probably some projects that would want to jump ship out of KRC20 and build in native smart contracts. I could be wrong about that, but I know that native smart contracts and KRC20 are going to run, like you said, parallel, and they're both going to exist at the same time. Whether a single project decides to launch one on each or flip-flop from one to another, I don't know how that's going to work. But
Tangent's release date for the KRC20 is known. Well, I said the middle of this month, and somebody said next week, so it's definitely supposed to be this month.
yeah, unless there's a delay, which I'm sure all of us would be extremely happy with at this point.
Rajana, again, CryptoPumpz has a video on the month and the time with the trade view for the peak cycle based on historical bull run. Yeah, that's a chart to keep going back to. It shows that the last two cycles after the halving, when Bitcoin peaked, was exactly 18 months after the halving on the last two cycles. And if it happens again this time, it's going to be November. So instead of aiming for a price, I'm kind of thinking September, August, September is when it might be safe to get out, instead of aiming for a price. And also that chart shows when the best time to buy Bitcoin is. The lowest point and even on this cycle, it's been the same. So the last 3 cycles, it's been the best time. I think it was like, I can't remember, it was like 16 months back from the peak was the best time to buy Bitcoin, something like that. But I haven't done it in a while. God candles galore. Oh my God, loving it.
Can't wait.
That's probably how like Binance is something. It's just going to come out like, well, you're just going to wake up one morning and yeah, maybe like Wolfie or something, you know, behind the scenes maybe has like something, but like all the regular people are just going to wake up one day and bam, it's just like the news is out. FOMO would kick in.
Yeah. We got some of the big banks in Germany supporting you buying Bitcoin and co. Yeah, I heard that. I saw videos on that, yeah.
That's one of the potential things that Trump has said he would do, or maybe that's not it. But right now, I think the banks, there's one of those laws or something that's preventing banks from holding it, and so that could be something that changes, which would change the game a little bit. Because to be honest, for crypto to be worldwide, I mean, I don't know if everyone can handle running around making sure they're keeping track of their 12 to 24 word seed phrases and not screwing that up to have 8 billion people, and so somewhere that's the dichotomy is we want the crypto to be decentralized, but really to maximize the most amount of users and get the liquidity, you have to integrate with the traditional world on some level, because the big money and like state pension funds aren't going to just buy into, you know, some Solana meme coin. They're going to be buying into something that's more legit and more regulated. So it's kind of like, it seems like that's just the way the world has to work.
Yeah, at least for the foreseeable future.
I just called my bank and they put a $1,500 limit on me buying crypto. Banks hate crypto. Yes, they do. I don't know how it is for you guys, but I have Revolut and I have, there's another online bank, but they are great. I just move my money out my regular bank account to the online bank and I buy crypto that way and I don't have any problems. Do you have anything like that, like Revolut?
I just have a regular bank. I've had problems trying to like use my credit card on MoonPay to buy something before, where I've had it go through and then not go through. But in terms of going from my bank to like Coinbase, I've never had a problem, and I've put a decent amount of money over there. So it's my dad though has had his Bitcoin locked in there, and he has trouble to try to get it out to his decentralized, you know, his wallet, because it's like locked in Coinbase, and he keeps like verifying his identity, and he just can't. They keep locking it.
Yeah, I've had issues with my bank as well, where they will not let me buy crypto. It seems to kind of go off and on when they feel like they'll allow me to and when they don't. My fix to that, to anybody who's in the U.S. or maybe even outside of the U.S. might work. Venmo. I ordered a Venmo credit card, and it's kind of like its own little account. It's got an account number and everything. And I was able to transfer money into my Venmo account and then into crypto exchanges. And that was my the way I had to do things for a little while. I haven't had any problems recently though, so I've stopped doing that. And my regular bank has allowed me to as of now, but I'll go back to that if I have to until they stop allowing it.
Guys, know your work, time, and effort is very much appreciated. Thanks, Paul. Would the Gov make a stable coin on KRC20 network since it's clearly the best? I don't think. I think when smart coins comes out, people will be doing stable coins, but I don't think the only one that's on KRC20 is the one for Change Finance, isn't it? As far as I know.
It's too decentralized. The government can't control it, so I doubt that's ever going to happen.
I think for this 4 years, you're just looking at like Tether and USDC. They might like USDC a little bit more. It's a little bit more US corporate versus offshore. But the reason why the Treasury is starting to like it is because they're one of the net biggest buyers of US debt right now, buying Treasury notes as stable coins. So they're actually, as China and Japan are buying less Treasury notes, the stable coins are like buying more Treasury notes than Mexico now. So if it was the stable coins were a country, they'd be like the number 17 country or something. But I just don't think that the central bank on this administration is going to have their own stable coin.
That's for you, Hoodie.
Mike Tyson, the like and subscribe button.
Yeah. Kraken listed Cadena today. They got the K and the A right. Yeah, missing the middle letters.
Oh man, the fighting between Kaspa and Cadena too.
Yeah,
is fun.
I agree. Proper weird that it's taken a bunch of people to call them out like that. That was on Coinbase letter.
Yeah, I don't think we should have to call them out, but the fact that we are, maybe it benefits us in some way, you know.
Yeah. Becca Bro, this is the man behind all the Nacho artwork. He's part of the Nacho team. He's in Discord.
Nice.
Kaspa is the only one who can bring in the people that are outside of crypto because of that story. That's why it's the real gem. Happy birthday, Kaspa. Casey and Nacho will have to go at it in the pit. Oh, that's didn't have to go on blank. Kaspi. Yeah, there's a video. Yeah, Kaspi. Yeah, did you see the Kaspi has a GoPro around the neck, and there was some black cat chasing up a tree. So everybody's playing on it, saying it was Nacho chasing Kaspi.
That's funny.
Yeah, Kaspi. Yeah. Where did the two Pommy lads get their info about tier 1 listings? What is it? What is it? Bullshit, is it? It's like two Pommies. The two, so Chris, I don't know, say something.
I think we both said it was speculation. We didn't say there was anything set in stone, so it just makes sense logically.
There was only one Pommy lad in the group as well. Boy, what you can afford to not take care about, stop looking at your portfolio. Yeah. No IKRC20 tokens are dumping. No, it's just they dumped last week and they shot back up again. So it would be pretty hilarious to see Coinbase listing Kaspa before any T1 exchanges, especially Kraken. It will be. You know, we do then, we get the KII to write everybody a letter. Thank you guys for covering Kaspa. Our future self will be so grateful. No, thanks, DL. Does that Nick on YouTube/X have nothing better to do than to make videos and posts being negative about Kaspa? Who's that? Who's that?
Never heard of her.
No, don't know who that is either.
I've never heard of him either.
It's dipping now. Congress controls the financial system. He would need 60 votes in Senate. Got a super chat. I have no idea how that works. Thanks. How do you say that? I'm not going to say that. Wank, is it? Super chat.
Wank.
10 What?
Oh, I'm not sure how you say that either. Wank.
Love the content. Join the stream late. What do any of you think about investing in companies which plan to use KII as long-term investment strategy and as an alternative method of supporting costs? Yeah. I don't know who's doing. All I know is the Desert Industrial Initiative, but they're a group of energy companies, so I don't know any specific ones. I haven't looked into it. Yeah, it could be decent. You guys have any thoughts on that?
Probably better just to buy Kaspa, but I guess you can see it, and you know, I mean, right now it'd take a lot of research just to understand what one even has a publicly traded company. But sometimes I think you're just better off holding, like with people like trying to buy like Coinbase or whatever, just buy Bitcoin. You know, for those people, but Kaspa, most likely you're better off just buying Kaspa. I mean, would you want to try to buy Marathon Digital, hope that they pivot more to Kaspa trading? I mean, I would rather have Bitcoin than Marathon Digital stock.
Yeah, I do like the idea of the olive branch. Sorry, where you can buy your own olive push and there'll be a marketplace and everything created for it on Kaspa. I'd be interested in that part, all right? Sorry, KatDaddy.
Oh, it's okay. I was just gonna say I don't really dabble in stocks all that much, anyways. And like Hoodie said, it's probably going to be difficult to figure out which ones are even worth investing in, at least this early. The gains for me in the stock market are just extremely boring, and I would get bored very quickly. So I stick to crypto. But that's just me personally. Anybody who feels more comfortable in the stock market could do all that research and figure out potentially some companies to invest in. But I'm going to stay away from that personally.
Suzanne Gallagher, hello from Galway. Nice to hear the Irish accent in this space. Thanks, Suzanne. I'll be in Galway for Christmas. Might see you there. Hey, my man. Hey, Cloud9. Why the F don't you have more subs? I presume he's talking to me because I've got the worst sub count here. So I don't know. Well, if everybody here clicks on it, I might catch up with these two.
Oh, you'll catch up.
Consistency.
But since we're the same guy, I mean, I really have 7,000 subs.
Consistency and good content.
What do you guys think about Crypto Galaxy?
Is that a comment?
It's a question. What do you think of
Or a
Crypto
question?
Galaxy? Yeah, question,
He's definitely, I think it's gone to his head a little bit, but I still like the guy. I think he's, for the most part, pretty genuine. At least it seems that way.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. I was in his Discord for a while. I learned a lot. Like, he knows the stuff. I learned a lot from him, but there's only so much you can learn, and then you're just kind of throwing your money away. So once you learn your stuff, you get out of there and start using your own mind. I did. Yeah, like you said at the start, he was all sound, and he did get a bit big for his britches, as they say, but like he does know his stuff, like, so that's all I say.
He was talking about Kaspa early, so like I think you mentioned before, he was one of the first non-miners to be talking about it. So you got to give him props for that, no matter what. And a lot of other people heard about him for that. I watched him. Yeah, like he said, to me it's a little over the top, but he's got his own style that works for him, and he's probably making a lot of money. And if he's reinvesting that in Kaspa and other cryptos, he's going to be super wealthy. And he's got something that's working for him, and seems like a lot of people are happy. And yeah, but at the end, he's talking about Kaspa early, so you can't deny that.
That is a fact. He was talking about it very early, so
sub 1 penny. So I mean, anyone that bought that and just held Kaspa is up. They potentially are up like 15x or whatever, depending on when they bought it. So
yeah. The only bad thing about it is he's so many subscribers that when he talks about KRC20, that he puts in a buy alert, everybody buys it. But when he sells it, that could really wreck token as well, I think, at the same time.
Yeah, that's what happens. Once you get big enough, you can't really talk about things with a small market cap because you can move the needle so much.
Yeah, and who knows if he's doing that behind the scenes, you know what I mean? I like to give everybody the benefit of a doubt. But I guarantee there are YouTubers out there that are taking advantage of that.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that he's doing that. I mean, I don't know. I've never analyzed anything he does that heavy enough. But yeah, I mean, because like if Cryptos R Us with 600,000 subscribers started talking about a KRC20 coin, it would probably rocket to the moon. And then even if he had no ill intentions, he just say like Kaspa for some reason, like that story, it would rocket up. And then
how do you not take profits if you're him? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what's tricky too. Is like, so what are we going to be like next year when say Kaspa got to $3.75 and everything? The stars are aligning. It looks like the market, Bitcoin's already kind of maybe topped. Like we're up a lot, so we're going to have like a lot of excitement. But there's also going to be some new people piling in.
Yeah,
that just bought it at $3.25, and you got to like there's going to be that balance of where you're happy and you're in big time profit mode, maybe life changing a lot of our subscribers, but there's going to be those new wave of people that are going to be in this. I don't know. That's where I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to be, where I'm super excited because I got maybe made a lot of money, and then you know, you got these, someone's buying at $3 or something.
Yeah. My strategy on that part is going to be telling people not to buy at that price, because we are going to go into a bear market again. I'm going to believe that until, it doesn't happen. But history says we're going to go into another bear market, and I don't want to be telling people to buy Kaspa at $3 because they're going to ride it all the way back down. And you can, argue that's a rite of passage in crypto. Everyone's done that once. But I don't want to get the blame for any of that. I want to be real. So
that's a good strategy. I think too is like there's a point where Kaspa, if you feel like in the bear market it's going to go below that, then at that point, say it's like, okay, I think Kaspa is going to go back down to 90 cents next bear market. At that point, I shouldn't really be dollar cost. I mean, at that point, you're playing defense on your profits, and at that point, you're potentially dollar cost averaging out or just holding. And
yeah, it's unfortunate that some people are going to come in at the top, and that's what pumps everybody else's bags. But that's just the way of the markets. You know what I mean? But I'm going to be honest and tell people they can do whatever they want to do. But if it was me, just wait, because you're going to get better prices, a year from now, and at that point, not a year from right now, but you're going to get better prices, and I would
2026, 2027 sometime.
Yeah, and there's speculation that Kaspa won't dip as much because it's fair launched, and there's no VCs to drop the price as much. But Bitcoin's takes massive dumps in the bear market, and it gets a little shallower every single cycle. But Kaspa's going to go down. It's not going to sit at.
And we just went down 50% almost in a kind of in the middle of a bull market. So I mean, that's to me, that's where like, I think Kaspa could go down 70 to 90% in the bear market.
Absolutely. And it will happen. It's not a maybe. It's going to fall into that range.
Oh yeah, yep.
So anybody who's telling people in October, November of next year to buy because it's the best thing since sliced bread is going to get a lot of people wrecked at that point, in my opinion. So,
or they'll just have to hold for 4 years, and that's for me. I'm like,
it's hard to do.
Yeah. And it's like, to me, it's like life is pretty short. So, even on some minimum, you should have like that vacation that you always wanted to take about, whatever, I mean, something
buy a house.
For me, it's like, if I could pay off my house, which I know on paper, if you can outperform that interest, the interest payment, on your mortgage. But to me, it's like, if you can secure something for your family, then try to get that,
that's why I encourage everybody to take some profits, at least your initials back out, because, like you said, life is short and we don't know, what's going to happen in the future. So you might as well secure some sort of wealth, whether it be minimum or large, just in case, right? Because if something does happen, then, you're going to be kicking yourself for the rest of your life. So.
The Crypto Casey, I don't know if you've ever seen her. She's kind of a pretty big YouTube, and she had a video about taking profits. And at the end of her video, it's just people on Instagram giving their comments of things they did, like, oh, I bought my dad a car, I paid off my loans, I took a trip, I did this, I paid off my credit cards, I bought a house. It was just like 5 minutes or 7 minutes of those comments, which is cool to see and think about. And because right now is the time that's good to get your plan in place so that next year because what's going to happen is if it does get to say $3.75 is the top, theoretical top, at that point, everyone's going to start talking about how $10 is priced in, And
and it won't be, is the thing. Everybody's going to say it's going to keep going up forever, and it will not. That's how people get wrecked.
And then it goes to 375, then it goes back down to 350, and it's kind of hanging in the 340, 350 range, and you're like, this is theoretical, but like it's there, and you're like, it's going to go back up, and then it goes down to 325, then back down to under 3, and then all of a sudden $3 is resistance. It can't get back over that, and you just slowly start watching it bleed out.
Mm-hmm. I've done that before. It's not fun. That's why I tell everybody, get your plan together now. because you need to have a plan in order to exit the market. And, you know, all three of us will be here to help people out, obviously, but there has to be a plan set in place, or you're going to miss the top of the market and you're going to ride your profits all the way back down, because you're going to think that it's going to keep going. Oh, well, you know, now it's down 20%. Let me wait till I reclaim that 20% and then I'll sell, and it may never come back. So it's a mental mind game, and it messes with a lot of people. So
yeah, I did this one video once where I had like, you can't have something that's like on a scale of 1 to 10 that's like being emotional, where it's a very emotional decision and also very rational. It's almost impossible to get a very emotional and rational decision. So I know for me, sometimes, I mean, there's times I've heard someone talk about this coin, you know, like 10 minutes later, I heard about the coin, and 10 minutes later, I'm about ready to put money into it. You know, it's like you're just trading off emotion of, you got to.
Yeah, you've got to have a plan set in place and get your mind right in order to really capitalize on, you know, the top of the cycle, in my opinion. You've got to be very strong mentally and grounded and stick to your plan. So
there's a message there for you, KatDaddy.
I know, I saw that at the bottom of the screen here. You were busy at a baby shower to mint. You madman, LOL. Yeah, on the day of the KRC20 minting, I did have a baby shower, but it was my own baby shower, and it was co-ed. Girlfriend wanted co-ed, and if I didn't go, I would be single and probably not be having a baby next week or this weekend. So I had no choice, and I'm glad I did go. But I do think about that actually still, where if I was sitting in front of my computer, then I would have been able to probably figure out the minting situation and been able to mint all of what I wanted to mint in the amount of time before it got minted out. And I would probably be sitting a lot better right now as far as nacho tokens go. But, you know, there's give and take in life. So I can't get too down on myself. And we are extremely excited for the baby. So I can't miss that scenario for a meme coin crypto token.
Well, congratulations on the baby.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Is it the first one?
It is. Yes. So it should be exciting. My life is going to change drastically.
Did anybody tell you about the first poo?
No.
It's green. Nobody told me.
Oh. I've heard that actually. Yeah. Because there's nothing inside of them except for whatever.
Yeah.
Sipping in the womb, I guess, right?
Yeah.
There'll be one more Caspian right there.
Oh yeah. Yep. We're gonna get our little Caspian Kaspa onesie. So.
How about KRC 721? I was going to get at least one Kaspa punk. I hope that Dev doesn't take all the cash and run. I spoke to him. Was it Kaspa? Yeah, Kaspa punks. Yeah, I did speak to him. Yeah, he's in Russia, a young fella. No, I have some. I'm on the white list as well, so I'm waiting for it. No, I do message him every now and again, and I ask him any word. He's waiting for Kaspex to get back to him to let him know when KRC 721. But they're still developing it. That's all I know.
I'm actually interested to see if they come back this cycle.
The NFTs?
Yeah, NFTs. Because I have some Solana NFTs. I actually have some Cardano NFTs that I didn't sell last cycle, and they're probably worth absolutely nothing right now. But is that narrative even going to come back, I wonder?
I don't know if it's going to come back to the same level, because at that point with Bored Ape Yacht Club and CryptoPumpz, and I got BitcoinHoodieguy, and I got some other ones on Bitcoin, some ordinals. And I think some of those projects might be okay, but maybe they'll come back. But are you going to get to that level where Bieber and all those people are buying NFTs and getting super hyped? I'm not sure. Maybe.
I don't know. If it does get to that point, though, that's a sell signal.
Oh yeah, yep,
For
yeah,
sure.
for sure. When Paris Hilton's talking on the late night TV show about her NFT, then
Yeah.
time to sell. You know,
Yep. Yep. They
when your
always say,
uncle that does, when your uncle that knows nothing about crypto is asking you what NFT is, hit
yeah.
that sell button.
Yeah. They also say, you know, when the limo or when the taxi driver or Uber driver starts talking to you about Bitcoin, that's the time to sell.
In the US, joined a credit union. I quit banks years ago. Only credit unions for me. I thought they were. I didn't know you had them. We have credit unions here as well. So just the more community ran rather than like banks. Is that the same over there?
Pretty much.
Have SoFi and have no problems. What's that? That like an online bank?
It might be a hybrid or online bank. I've seen the advertisements. I've never used it. It's but yeah, I've never had a problem moving cash to Coinbase, but I've had trouble using my credit card to buy stuff.
Stop being retarded. It's £400 flight. Set up a bank. Sorted.
You know what's funny is I've actually thought about getting citizenship in another crypto-friendly, low-tax country.
Yeah.
I haven't actually acted on that yet, but
What about Puerto Rico?
I've thought about it. That's possible. The only issue that I have with Puerto Rico is the real estate's super expensive.
Yeah.
So
El Salvador, here we come.
Yeah. There's a few countries out there that kind of check all the boxes when it comes to prices, you know, around the horn when you're looking at things, but I don't know if I'll ever actually take the dive into doing that, but I have looked at it.
Yeah, that, you know, if you do some trading and, you know, for me, I'm not a big trader, so I don't make a lot of trades, but you know, if you make, say you made $1 million in crypto and you could keep 350,000 of it versus having to, or if you did make that trade to try to buy back in the bear market, you have more capital. That's one reason why I don't trade a ton, because every time I trade, then all of a sudden really you only have about 65% of your profit.
Exactly. Whereas if you had citizenship in a crypto-friendly, tax-friendly country, you would, you know, your profits would be marginally larger.
Devious me. Kaspa is in general better than Bitcoin since the speed and the fees, but can it become that famous that it would be used more than Bitcoin/ETH for useful cases?
Yeah, it's a matter of
15 years versus 3 years.
correct. Is it going to garner the same attention when it's all said and done? You know, that's still to be seen. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. So
I don't know. I do know from being at the KII conference that all these energy companies are using ETH for cross-border payments, and it's costing them in gas fees billions of dollars. And that's that's one of the things they want to switch to Kaspa for, because like the fees are like hardly anything. They're saving billions. So that'll bring transactions up and bring more attention. So yeah, go on. Sorry.
I think ETH is a different case than Bitcoin, because ETH, I don't know, it's just, I think ETH and Bitcoin are in two different categories. So I think that obviously we have a better shot of maybe trying to overtake ETH or be up to the ETH level. Bitcoin's its own animal, and it just depends on if more national governments and things like that are piling into it, that it might make hard for it to ever really overtake that. But ETH, I think, is, you know, well, on the ETH has basically been bleeding against Bitcoin. So we'll see.
I think a lot of the big legacy companies too just feel safe and comfortable on ETH as of right now, and eventually maybe Kaspa, you know, gets to that point where, you know, the safety and security is trusted, and I just don't know how much time that will take. You know, maybe it's next cycle, maybe it's a cycle after that. Who knows? But I think ETH just has the name and the time in the market as of right now. So we'll see.
Vadim, all meme coins are pump and dumps. Eventually, whether on Solana or Kaspa, all liquidity will eventually come to Kas. Once everyone realizes it's the only safe coin besides BTC and it's way undervalued. Yeah, I agree with that.
I would also encourage everybody not to hold your Kaspa meme coins through the bear market, because they will not probably be around next cycle. So just a warning there. I would heavily guard against holding on to meme coins.
Kaspa is the safest investment in the whole crypto space. If you don't understand this, then you don't understand crypto. Loading up on gold.
It seems like I'm the only one here that likes gold.
Yeah. I did try to get it. Well, I got a little bit at the first mint, and then they did that whole over-the-counter sale, and that was done in like 5 or 10 minutes. So I didn't get a chance to get any. Otherwise, I would have some.
Yeah, I think I bought mine through Telegram bot, if I remember correctly. I didn't spend that much money though. It's worth a lot more now, so I'm just going to hold it and see what happens.
This time next year, all of your channels are going to be massive. Yeah, hopefully. Be nice. Let's go, Hoodie. Website coming soon for the token. Oh yeah, it was how's Hoodie doing? Am I going to be rich off Hoodie?
Probably not. I feel like just burning. I feel like sending my tokens to the burn address, and then.
Are you actually creating a token?
I did create it like a week after the launch, and I didn't. And I did it live on live stream, so everyone was like, so it's fair launch and no one can see it or whatever. And I made the Hoodie token, because I've made with Bitcoin ordinals, I've kind of some of the different ecosystems and runes. I've made my own coins and nothing ever happened. And I figured, I like to play around the new ecosystems, and I made it, and it actually minted out. And then then I was like, oh wow, okay. Then it was but then now it's I don't know if I have the time to really do anything besides that it exists, because I don't know, I did make that X account, but then it was it's just hard because it's just a meme coin, and there's no utility. Oh, look, that's a horrible looking chart.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not on it yet.
That's called a rug pull. No, I'm just kidding.
There's a Hoodie token.
Yeah, I think if I'm not even in the top 10 holders on that.
But it's 100% mint. That's good start.
It was all on live stream, so it was about as fair as you can get, and so yeah, it's because it probably cost about, I don't know, I probably put $170 into it, so I still haven't. I think I sold and got $10 back, so it was a fun experiment.
Just to kind of figure out how it's done and the tech behind it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just to play around with it and do that, but then it's it's a massive amount of work to try to build up a community, because if you look at how much energy Ashton and the team behind Nacho, they were there months before they even launched. The first launch, and kept it going for months. So for me, I'm okay. And then part of me is okay, do I really want to make it off it? I'm I think I might just send all the ones I have to the burn address. So it's okay, I made $10 on it. Then it's not something where I'm trying, it looks like I'm trying to pump it. That's the difference. Sometimes I'll cover the KRC20s and let's see how Hoodie's doing, and just take a look. And it's had 150 to 180 holders, and it's kind of more of an experiment. Then all of a sudden now it's this thing that's living there. But you look at, what is there, 1,000 KRC20s now? It's relentless.
Yeah, it's getting pretty watered down, I guess you could say. There's a lot to think about, and a lot of competition.
A lot of competition, and it seems like a lot of them it comes out, and maybe that first day you're able to mint it, and then there's a day, or you might have a chance right off the bat to make some money, and then most of them already are going down to nothing. Because if you look, once you get past the first page, there's not that much liquidity being traded. So,
yeah, there's only going to be a handful that end up making it, in my opinion. And I don't know what that handful is going to be. So,
agreed. Hoodie, find a team that has potential. Someone just said. I don't know. It's
community takeover.
Yeah, maybe communicate takeover. I can give someone that X account.
So Kaspa died at age 3, huh?
Yeah.
Sad. We should do a funeral stream instead of a birthday.
Waiting for 7 cents. There's another. Yeah.
People make those, those compilation of all the times the legacy media told, said that Bitcoin was dead, basically at the bottom of every bear market. And
yep.
Like
story left in the past. What about the future? Game over for Kaspa. What do we have in the future? Crescendo, 10 blocks per second, Dag Night. It's not listed on any of the tier 1s.
Yeah. Game over.
Great stream. I hope it becomes a regular thing. Thanks, Lloydie. Now watch everyone now sell their Kaspa.
You know what's funny is I made a video the other day. I don't know if either of you guys saw it, where the title was "Kaspa's dead. What to do next in crypto."
Clickbait one, yeah.
Well, yeah, and my first sentence when I got on screen was, "This is clickbait. Obviously, don't sell your Kaspa." But there was countless comments that were like, almost like it seemed like they were crying, like that I shouldn't give Kaspa a bad name like that, because some people are going to watch the video, or some people aren't going to watch the video, and it just seemed like I don't think a YouTuber with less than 5,000 subscribers is going to kill Kaspa by creating a thumbnail that says Kaspa's dead. When it's obviously just a joke. I mean, like, you guys got to like grow a pair,
There's quite a few people that I think look at a thumbnail or title and they don't even watch the video. They just literally
anybody who's going to make a decision to sell or buy off of a thumbnail on YouTube should not be in crypto in the first place, in my opinion.
That's pretty much how you're going to get wrecked, and even
absolutely.
And even just, having a YouTuber, like at the end of the day, that people are, they're responsible for their own decisions, and that like you really have to step back and just really go, okay, that's, really double check that that's what you want to do. And, you get wrecked if you listen to people too much. And then, if you're trading off thumbnails and titles, that's like, everyone knows that you got to be sometimes a little clickbaity on YouTube to get the views. And I've seen like if something was like negative or good price action, it gets more views than something that's maybe just standard.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I always tell people, watch multiple different people, influencers, YouTubers, wherever you're watching them, and come to your own conclusion based on a vast array of different opinions. Because I think that's, a much better all-around mindset, where you can kind of digest different opinions and then come to your own through that, rather than blatantly, blindly follow somebody who's trying to pump and dump on you potentially.
Because I've thought about too the other day. It was like, well, okay, what if this guy is not even a pump and dumper, but he's giving you his trades, and 9 times in a row he was good, so 9 times in a row he was right, and he's not trying. He has got no ill intentions. He's just straight up showing you his trades. And so you go, man, this guy is right 9 times, man. I'm going to go all in on number 10 because I really want to make some money. Well, that's the time he's wrong. And that could be a guy that's like super, actually a good trader. If you're right 9 times out of 10, you'd be actually considered maybe one of the best traders on earth. And
top tier.
But that's just even listen to that guy that's not trying to get anyone wrecked. You could get wrecked. So that's a great strategy of, that gets the person thinking on their own, really. But also, getting feedback from different people online helps, and then setting back. And sometimes you just got to stare at the wall and kind of think about like, okay, is that what I want to do? And also, I thought about like, I had that once where you have a sheet, and if you have like, okay, you have rational, written down on a piece of paper, 1, 2, 3 to all the way up to 10, and then emotional. And right before you do a trade, mark down on a piece of paper where it is on the scale of being rational and emotional. And if a person has to do that before the trade, they could be like, wow, okay. I mean, the market tanked, because you see that too. Like, something like Tesla have a bad earnings report and all of a sudden their stock goes down. I mean, okay, so say if you were an investor and you believe in the company, or some weird piece of news comes out about Bitcoin and it goes down 7% that day, I mean.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables. Trading's dangerous.
And when the best time to sell next year, and the human instinct won't feel like the best time. There's been a couple of times I held stuff. My wife's like, you should sell that. And I'm like, why? And this might be going up more. And she's like an outsider, just like, oh, just sell that, And but when the next point, whatever day it is, whether it's, August, September, October 15th, or whatever day that the top is that we'll see in hindsight, it won't feel like it's the right day to sell. It'll feel like, oh no, man. This, like, I don't want to sell now at 375, man. This might be 575 next week. I mean, smart contracts are coming next month,
Yeah, well, the thing is, everybody on YouTube and everybody on social media will be telling you it's going to go up forever. So naturally, our minds take that in and think that. And I've fallen victim to that before, and I'm sure both of you probably have, and everybody in the audience probably has. If you've been around for a little while, it's when everybody's telling you it's never going to go down, and we've seen green candle upon green candle upon green candle for month upon month upon month, is when you should probably think about starting to sell some stuff.
And actually went back to some of the like Cryptos R Us and some of the other big YouTube channels last cycle, and I went back to their YouTube channels and found videos around November 14th, roughly around the top. And they're all like looking at their videos, and nothing against them, but they were like, oh yeah, Plan B saying this, and like, this is what tech dev has got. And they're all, potentially thinking that it could go up higher and maybe top out in like January of 2022. And so it just made me help think that like, and I don't think they weren't trying to wreck people. That's just literally what they thought. You go on X, all these people are talking about the top here, Plan B saying this.
Yeah, it gets so overheated that it's extremely difficult. I always tell people the hardest thing to do in crypto is to sell, because you hold it for so long too that you almost have like a sentimental value in it.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? And so you're like, well, I don't want to get rid of this because I like it so much now. I've held it for so long. It's like part of me. And, everybody's telling you it's never going to go down. It's going to keep going up forever. And it seems that way because month upon month, it's been going up forever. And it all ends in a second. And before you know it, you're in the depths of the bear market, and you have held your wealth. When you have been to a point where you have seen what your portfolio looks like at the top of the market, and you've rode it all the way back down to the bottom of the bear, it is not fun.
Mm-mm.
Because you feel extremely poor.
Yeah, I think that I talked about my dad is have like pick a percentage out, 2.5%, 5%, 1%. Just sell at some point next year, sell 1% of your portfolio just to break pop that cherry. Basically, is that you need to break that stigma, like you said. We become attacked, especially NFTs. NFTs, you kind of. I've had it where like there's something weird about like you're kind of because it's like a picture, it looks different, you kind of get connected to it, but like just whatever that percentage is, some point next year you got to pop the cherry sometime with selling and because if you don't, like, what's the point of watching your portfolio go up and then watch it go back down 75 to 90%? I mean, awful.
Absolutely awful. I can attest to it. But yeah, you've got to get your brain okay with, hitting that button to sell, and you have to kind of train it to do that. And it's hard for a lot of people.
Landon wants to know, I'm holding 10K in Bitcoin. Would you guys think it would be worth it to pump Cas now?
You mean you want to sell your Bitcoin for Kaspa? Is that?
That's what I got from him. Yeah.
I mean, not financial advice, but if you were going to do that, this is probably one of the best times ever. Bitcoin's at all-time highs, and Cas is, just above its, local floor of support. It kind of just depends on your portfolio. I mean, there's a lot of context that's missing there. We don't know what your portfolio looks like outside of that either, which could, drastically swing, what I would recommend one way or another. But
yeah, it's up to you. I sold Bitcoin and put it into Cas, but I wasn't happy with the size of my Kaspa bag. So it depends how much Kaspa you have as well. Just research Bitcoin, research Kaspa, and make your own decision. See what you think there. Obviously the chance for gains are a lot greater on Kaspa than they are on Bitcoin, but it's only you can make that decision.
And you don't know your rest of your portfolio, but you could also just do it with half. If you're really thinking about doing it, you can always just make the move half. That's why sometimes I buy in with something half. Then it goes up or down. It's like, okay, like say you did that, and it's the right move. Then it's like, well, at least I did it with half of it. I mean, there's one potential way to do it.
Yeah, then you'll still have some Bitcoin, so you'll feel comfortable still.
You can put 5K into Kaspa and 5K into Hoodie.
Oh, geez. Yeah, there's not even enough liquidity.
Just see the chart go like that.
Oh, yeah.
But there will be no liquidity to pull your money out.
Yeah. No liquidity. Yeah. I think I might have to go to work here and actually get something done today in a little bit.
Yeah, same. It's 3 hours we're talking. When we started doing this, I was like, oh man, what are we going to talk about? Or is it going to be all right? And like 3 hours later, no, it's been...
there's always something to talk about. And I don't know if you guys, before we end, if you feel the same way. So the reason I started this channel is because nobody in my personal life wants to hear anything about crypto. And I've got all this pinned up stuff that I want to get out off my chest, and girlfriend doesn't want to hear it, family doesn't want to hear it, friends don't want to hear it. So I'm like, maybe I'll just talk to the computer screen and just get it off of my chest, and it makes me feel better, right? And then maybe I can help some people, on the way. And that's how it basically started, is because I have all this pent up stuff that I want to talk about to somebody, and nobody wants to listen. So
yeah, that's my dad is into crypto a little bit, but so that's one person. But my wife, my friends, I talk to them. I've been telling them about Kaspa and Bitcoin for years, and it's like no one wants to hear it. So it's it's kind of built up a community of people you can actually talk and bounce ideas and kind of help navigate this through. And so that's a combination of that. I like having a creative project. I've written some novellas and self-published on Amazon, but I like making videos, and for me, that's why I kind of been just grinding a couple of years and making different videos. And but yeah, I like where things have settled, but it helps it kind of built up a community. And so yeah, it's kind of a little bit in the same boat as really most of us don't have very many people in real life to talk about this stuff with.
No, same story with me. I just decided to start a YouTube channel just to talk about Kaspa, because anybody in real life doesn't want to know. When you start talking about crypto, they just glaze over. They don't want to know. So
yeah, or they tell you stop.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, shut up. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that a lot. So
my wife jokes around that I can always bend the conversation back around to Bitcoin or Kaspa, whatever. It's Richard Nixon back in 1971 took us off the gold standard, and with inflation, you should really be trying to have some kind of investment. It's I can bend everything back around.
Yeah.
I'll leave that. There's more questions to keep coming in, so I'll just leave this at the last one. So Nick 69, hi all. I hope holding 7,000 Kaspa, or I am holding 7,000 Kaspa coins. Am I going to make enough money? Is now a good time to buy more?
Well, I would say right now is, it's hard to really tell someone what to do, but it feels like, we could have some pullback from Bitcoin's all-time highs, but it feels like this is like the time you want to load up, because we're going to reach a point pretty soon, I think in the next few months, where the prices are going to be a lot higher and you're not going to get as many Kaspa for your dollar or euro or whatever you're buying in. 7,000 Kaspa, I don't think is going to get you rich unless something happens like long term and like multiple cycles down the road, but I don't know, maybe you're, 18 and having 20 grand or 14 grand next year is a lot of money for you, but you're not going to retire off that amount. And I think that for like anything, Bitcoin, pretty much anything in the crypto market right now is getting close to liftoff, it feels like, which doesn't mean there can't be a pullback short term, but you got the most crypto friendly regulated, potential administration ever coming into the biggest capital market in the world at a time when maybe global liquidity is going to go up, because China is maybe going to put 1.4 trillion stimulus out there. And so I don't know, to me it feels like this is the buy zone time is running out, whether that because the next couple weeks, month, January, that zone's closing.
Yeah, and the problem is we don't know exactly when it's going to close. We know it's coming, and so there's going to be a certain point in time in the relative near future where you're going to be like, oh, I should have bought at 11 cents. I should have bought at 12 cents, because we'll never see those prices again next year. As far as 7,000 Kaspa tokens making you enough money is relevant term to whoever's talking. So it depends on what you want, what your financial situation is, where you live in the world. There's a lot of variables there. So, it kind of just depends. We're missing some context there, but I don't know what 7,000 Kaspa is going to be worth at the top of the bull run, but again, is $5,000 a lot to you? Is $1 million your goal? Like there's a lot of context missing there, and then where you live is also huge, because a lot money goes further in other places of the world rather than where I live. So
just one of my friends he's only started buying Kaspa now lately, so he's not going to have much. He doesn't have much money to put into crypto. So I don't know if the other guys agree with this. I'm just telling them, just put it in now and don't sell this bull run. Hold on for the next one, and it should be worth a lot more. So if you can't afford much, hold on to it, just sit in it and just keep adding to it. But now is a good time in this bull run, but you could just leave it there if you're only young, and then leave it for the next bull, then it'll be worth a lot more,
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of just depends, like I said, your financial situation too. Are you able to hold, or do you are you planning on wanting to make a certain amount of money this cycle? So
yeah, that's it, guys. I'm gonna have to leg it, as we say. It's 9:30 now. We started this 6:15, 9:30 for me. Yeah, so this has been great.
it's a long stream.
Yeah, very longest I've ever done. Yeah,
Well,
it was
appreciate
good though.
everyone that tuned in.
Maybe the longest in the history of crypto YouTube. Actually, we're setting records.
Yeah, maybe, or the longest
This
one
is
on
longer
Kaspa.
than Trump's interview with Rogan.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So make sure you guys, everybody's YouTube channels are in the description. Make sure you subscribe. Anybody who's not subscribed to any of three of us, and we'll try and do this again too. Maybe keep it a little shorter next time, but hopefully nobody got too bored. I guess you can sign off if you get bored, right? So anybody who's still here is interested.
Yeah, no, it's constantly over 100 viewers there for the last while, so that's great.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure, and we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Definitely will. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time. See you later.
Thanks everybody for watching. Bye bye.